Welcome to episode 12. We've got more Christmas sweaters, but even more exciting than that, Kat Baylor joins us today. It's going to be a great episode. She is one of our employees, so it's even more exciting. You get the introduction of her, and we find out how she went from tropical smoothie to being film photographer extraordinaire. Find out the story.
Or else.
Welcome to TRIFLIX Cast. We are professional videographers, photographers talking about the latest business practices, tech, and something else. Welcome.
Welcome.
My name is Cole. I'm the producer, and that's why I can't remember anything. To my right is
Tristan, and the secret ingredient is crime.
And to my left.
And the more secret ingredient to that is not crime. I'm David.
Thank you. And today, we are actually joined by a special guest who is not just a guest, but also an employee.
Yay.
Welcome, Kat Baylor.
Woohoo! Thank you. Thank you. Thank
What's
you.
your favorite
Applause.
color, real quick?
Applause.
If you're driving, keep
Anything
clapping.
in the teal turquoise family.
Oh,
What's a family?
A color family.
Color family.
Because
That's
I
how
would
you
say
know
my
she's
favorite
artistic.
color was teal or turquoise or whatever, and then people would argue with me. They're like, "No, that's not your favorite color." I was like, "I like
Trying to tell you?
It's in the teal turquoise family. I like it. Don't argue with me about my favorite color."
Wait, is that what your sock is?
What would that technically
it's
be?
not quite green enough, but
Okay.
it is for my liking.
For the listeners, it's not quite teal or turquoise.
It's not sea mist.
What is on the sock?
It is a cat,
Oh, okay. I
and
thought
then
maybe
it's
of a
in
cat.
snow.
That looks like a cat that went through the
Oh.
washer machine too many times.
It does. It's a little stretched out.
Kat, what do you do here? Why did we pull you on? What do you do? For those who don't know.
But also for me.
It doesn't know.
You just wrote her a check the other day.
It was great. The bank didn't have any issues with it this time. So
Oh, hold on. just to clarify, it wasn't a lack of money. It was a spelling error.
Okay.
it was a too many words error.
We just like writing checks.
We like writing checks.
We don't know when to
We
stop
can't
when we're
cash.
writing on the check. We wrote
Yeah.
too many.
It's just IOUs.
Too many zeros.
Sorry, I just had to clarify.
So what do you do?
So I run the social medias. So basically, I'm like, hey, we should cut this big video into lots of little verticals so that Daniel cries.
We said
That's
we work
what
for
I
you,
do.
right? We made that clear. You work for us.
Yeah.
By us, I mean them. But
Yeah.
us.
So I do the social media
Us.
for TRIFLIX.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
and then also sometimes I get to edit photos when they're not taken inside.
Only outdoor photos.
Only outdoor pictures.
I just got done. I thought of you the other day because I just got done editing from that luncheon we just shot,
Mhm.
and it was all inside of an office building, and it was took me a hot minute. Wasn't very happy about the lighting situation.
Mm-mm.
It's
Can't
just,
you just push a button?
yeah, man. You just hit that old AI button, and it says
Yeah.
ta-da.
That's not like it used to be, man.
Yeah.
It used to be way harder.
Well, it's really easy when I take out my iPhone. Just
Ah. there are multiple people in this room that will fight you, sir, over that
yeah. Well, you
You
can
will
edit
be
videos on
hurt.
iPhone too, can't you?
all day long. If you want to edit crap. What? I just the other thing. So Kat says she's managing our social media. So if you've talked to us and you think that you've talked to somebody like Tristan or myself,
You're wrong.
you're probably wrong.
It might be.
It could
me.
be.
Yeah.
Could be, but most of the time it's Kat. Unless she says, "Hey, I don't know this person, and they're saying
Yeah.
weird things. Can you take this over?"
There's a clear exception, and that's my grandfather.
I was going to say Tristan's
True.
grandpa really thinks TRIFLIX is Tristan.
Yeah.
Like, and to
It's
make that
really
not.
funny.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I
No.
was just like the comments, and then Tristan responds.
Yeah,
Of
no, I
course.
told him, I was like, hey, love EJ, but like if you're gonna comment, you got to comment back directly
yeah.
because he's gonna get confused. It's like
I-
TRIFLIX replies, and then he's like, I don't
Already
know.
confused.
We could
Yeah.
just like cut the logo in half and have my face on half of it,
Just
and
on
the
one
logo
part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then it really would be like a Linus Tech
You know,
Tips.
it would be interesting if like Facebook would allow you to post as like a business, but also know who posted it. Like, hey, like Jenny from TRIFLIX responded to your thing instead of like TRIFLIX responded.
It would be super smart, but
Yeah.
the thing is, like, we just started being able to reply as TRIFLIX.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they're working on the metaverse. They're not too worried
Yeah.
about
Hey, they just have
Yeah.
legs.
They added legs.
to the
They got
metaverse.
legs.
They were just like torsos and arms.
Yeah, they're gonna get a lot more done now. They laid off 10,000. I think it'll be a lot
Yeah.
more productive.
A lot
there.
less legs going around.
Oh my gosh.
There's a leg shortage in the metaverse.
How do you think they got them all?
Okay, we're gonna do the news story and then we'll jump
All
back
right.
into everything. I did kind of give it up a little bit. I said that it was wholesome, and the title I used was Unicorn Capture.
I got it.
What is it?
Obviously, someone found a real unicorn and it's running through town, putting holes in people with its horn.
Oh.
Very aggressive, and it's a pun. It's not actually wholesome. It's very violent.
Okay.
All right, round table, cat.
Cat.
Oh, no. I have to use my brain. Gosh. Okay.
What was it? Unicorn capture?
Unicorn
Yeah.
capture?
You can. It's a news story, so whatever you think it might be about. You could pass if you want to.
is wholesome?
It is wholesome, yes.
Is capturing a mythical creature really wholesome?
Oh, well, you know,
Yeah.
I like to play games with everybody,
That's my take on it. Is capturing a mythical animal actually
You're
wholesome?
questioning
We're getting down to the ethics.
ethicality. Yeah.
Well, everything
like it.
the company's
No.
known for, of course. We appreciate that.
Yes, yes.
Hmm.
That's our motto. Ethic centric.
Is it now? Unicorn capture. I'm gonna assume it was like a lost child during Halloween, and they like found her somewhere, and she was just like hanging out with her friends. But
She was inside a unicorn.
she was
The
dressed
unicorn
as a
ate her.
unicorn. You doofus.
I know. That's with you.
Yeah, doofus. And that's what happened. They found, and she was just having a great time.
You're all wrong.
Oh.
I definitely put a less wholesome spin on the little caption, but no. In Los Angeles, a little girl, she's 6. She asked the animal control. She wrote animal control a letter and said, "I'm looking for a unicorn. If I find one, can I please have permission from the city to keep it in my backyard?"
Mm-hmm.
That's. She from California. That's not a really California thing to say.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That she said, "Dear LA County, I would
Oh
like
my
your
gosh.
I would like your approval if I can have a unicorn in my backyard if I can find one. Please send me a letter in response."
Yeah, LA County.
There you go.
And they sent her a certificate and a letter
Really?
and a little plush unicorn with like a tag on it that every like just in case for you, like so you're ready. And they gave her permanent unicorn license or something
Yeah.
along those. Yeah, permanent unicorn license. Gave it a number and everything so that she could keep this animal in her backyard if she finds one.
Well, if you took elements from all of our guesses, we got it right.
Yeah. I like this though. They said there were restrictions
Hmm.
on if she was to find one, what she had to do with it. They said that she has to polish the unicorn's horn at least once a month with a soft cloth, feeding it watermelon at least once a week, and covering it with only non-toxic and biodegradable sparkles, and giving it regular access to sunlight, moonbeams, and rainbows.
And register it.
One watermelon a
Adorable.
week? That horse would be dead.
I know.
It's a unicorn.
They're magical. They
It's
could just...
not a horse.
I
mean,
just imagine someone giving this girl a horse with a horn on it, just like attached, adhered, just as a nice present. And she gives it one watermelon a week.
Yeah, that horse gone.
I kind of want it to turn into like a Marvel story where like she gets to have her unicorn for like a week, and then afterwards people find out about it and they like gets traded. Some people steal it, and like there's some like people on the black market trying to get access to the unicorn for like the magical properties.
Yeah, because isn't it? I don't know
Yeah.
the whole lore, but isn't it like if you capture a unicorn, then you get like wishes or something?
No, I think it lays golden eggs. Isn't that? And
I don't know.
Isn't that part of it?
I don't know. Yeah, but it'd be like an evil guy,
Google.
like with like a scar on his eye, and like he's like, I want the wishes from the unicorn, and like
I want wishes.
And like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is like her father, and they have to go on an adventure to capture the unicorn.
Dude,
Yeah, this is a whole movie that will probably exist at some point.
Sounds
I
like
feel
something we should make.
I feel like now that you're aware that I want to animate podcast clips, it's like
Yeah.
you're just giving me so much source material. I can't wait to draw
Please
Dwayne "The Rock"
do.
Johnson.
Can a unicorn
it.
be caught?
We need to find out the logistics.
the legality.
Yeah,
It's
whether or not
illegal.
it's ethical
It's
to
illegal.
keep
Well,
it.
this one
Yes.
says that it's impossible to capture one alive.
Yeah.
See, I don't think that's ethical.
It says it's a body
See,
of a horse, the head
ethical
of a
part
stag.
could be like the whole
feet of an
crux
elephant.
of like the
Tail of a
movie,
boar.
Yes.
where like they find out that the unicorn needs to be free and nobody can have them.
Oh my gosh, this one says the unicorn horn is 3 feet long. I don't know what's happening.
Have you ever seen? There's
Everything you wanted to know about unicorns. Here we go. I found it.
like there actually is a historical
There really is.
unicorn that looks kind of like a rhino, but it's fuzzy and the horn is like massive and really art like cartoonishly just pointy. Like it is.
Okay.
It's not like a rhino horn where it's like big and curved and bulbous.
Yeah.
Like a ram. It's like a dagger on the front of it that goes out like 3+ feet. So yeah, they were kind of real sometime.
kind of.
They always land on their feet. Powdered unicorn horn.
Oh no.
Nart. That was a nart. Someone thought that was. These are actually real. This is like real, like a whole history about why, like all the different things that people have talked about over the years.
Weren't piano keys made out of horns of like some animal?
Ivory.
Ivories?
Yeah.
Well, if we make one out of unicorn horns, it'd be
No.
a magical piano.
Yeah. Then we could all play real
Think
good.
about the music, the magical music.
The magical music. Music is magical, anyways. We are going down a huge rabbit hole here.
It's
Cat.
literally
Isn't
called the
that
Siberian
normal?
unicorn.
Yes, it is. Miss Baylor. It's great having you on today. I know we've talked about it multiple times, but for the listeners out there, all 5 of them,
For the internet people.
which give us your hiring story because it's pretty comical. I had nothing to do with it.
Sure.
Just so we're aware.
Sure.
Right. So
Okay.
let's see.
Was the main ignorer.
This story starts back in around
I got it.
around
I got it.
November of 2021.
Whatever.
over a
And
year
I
ago.
was in my senior year of college, and I was like, I should probably start thinking about some place where I can make some money, so I'm not living on the streets, usual things. And my mother, who had worked with the TRIFLIX humans before, finding people for films and stuff and helping with the 48-hour stuff.
Wait a second. Didn't you originally ask about a internship?
No.
No.
I thought maybe you
Pull
did.
up the
Maybe I'm
records.
wrong. Pull up the Facebook messages. I couldn't remember.
But no, my mother was like, you should check out TRIFLIX, and there was another one that she mentioned. And so I reached out to both, and I was basically like, hi, I'm a senior. I graduate in spring of 2022. I'll be getting a degree in, film and photography and stuff. So I would like to work in that field. And the first place messaged me back, and they were like, yeah, to be honest, we're really tiny, and we don't get paid for almost anything that we ever make. So we could not pay you.
Whoa.
And I was like, well, thank you. If you have a some sort of passion project that you really need extra help with, maybe contact me and I'll do it, but not I'm not gonna be there for nothing in return.
I get it.
except
I get it.
experience.
I didn't know this part of the story.
Can you hit the bleeper? What company was it?
I know. I want to know now.
Yeah. Okay.
It was
I was gonna guess it. I was gonna guess it.
That makes me really sad. I didn't know that
No, somebody
they did
told me
so
that.
many projects of them
I
went
know.
at discounted or no rate.
No,
Wow.
I think you
Yeah.
told me that. Somebody told me that. That's how I knew.
It's
I was
probably me when I told this story for like the 6th
I've-
time previously.
I've worked alongside of them before, but I didn't know that was
Guess I
how serious it was. Cool.
Yeah,
Well,
'cause,
we're
like-
happy you're here.
Because like they make like really pretty stuff, but they were like, yeah, we just kind of don't really get paid that much for it, so like we couldn't pay you. I was like, okay, well that's cool. That I would have been cool with that in high school, but I'm not in high school, so thank you. But I mean,
Wow.
Yeah.
let me know if you need any help, and maybe I'll happen to be available. And they did actually reach back out to me, but I was still in school at the time. I was like, yeah, I'm still in Tennessee. Sorry. So then TRIFLIX responded to me, and they were like, you know, we're not really looking to like hire anyone right now, but you know, April is like 7 months away or whatever, so you know, maybe
Could
you know,
change.
like keep checking back in with us. And I was like, okay. So like every like 2 months or something, I'd send another message, be like, hey. And then at the end of my fall semester, I was in a class where we had to make a website. So then I had a whole website. So then I sent that, and I was like, so I have a whole website now. Feel free to check that out. See what you think. And then like almost every month in the spring semester, I was just like, hey, you know, just checking back in, seeing, you know, what's going on.
You're
What's
so
up?
persistent.
If I like, you know, should start really planning on, you know, going back to working at Tropical Smoothie.
Which I don't want to.
How many smoothies did you make while
Well,
there?
okay. So when I worked at Tropical Smoothie, it was a really good place to work. I will say that they were very chill.
It's okay.
But-
Nobody's here from Tropical Smoothie.
I
You
know,
don't have
They're
to.
not even a direct competitor.
No, but like
Indirect competitor.
it was a really chill place to work. Like, you know, you hand someone a 20 at McDonald's, they're like, we need a manager to, you know, do this or whatever.
Really?
Yeah, at Trostmouth, they were like, whatever. Like, if they have to wait like 20 minutes to get their food, go ahead and give them a discount. Give them a free smoothie card. You know, whatever. Like, it's up to you. So, but
Okay.
anyway, I got trained on food. And after one day of that, I was like, I'm never doing food ever again. I would rather like jump in the oven than do that.
Oh my gosh.
You'd rather.
So
You'd rather be food.
than make it.
Make it.
It's so stressful during lunch rush. Like, I don't know how people do it. I really don't. But smoothies, on the other hand, I don't know if it was just because, you know, everything was fruit and it was like you're just dumping it all in a blender and then blending. Like, that made so much more sense to me. So I did make smoothies for a while.
They made me feel at peace.
Yeah.
You put
I
it
was
in
like,
the bottle.
scoop,
and
scoop,
it
scoop.
blends it up into a
Blend.
soup.
So I did get pretty good at making smoothies. And there was
Nice.
a point where when I was like subbing, I wasn't working regularly. I would just sub for them. I'd come in and like order a smoothie, and then I'd be like, can I please go back and make it myself?
I get that though.
But I got trained on drive-through, and then I like never gave up drive-through because that was really all I wanted to do, because I like talking, as you can tell by the fact that I've been talking for
When was this?
like a hot minute.
When was this when you worked for Tropical Smoothie?
2018 to
Okay.
like, and then I subbed up until like,
So were you
21.
doing any photography during this time, or was
Mhm.
this okay?
yeah,
It was on the side or just for fun
Yeah.
stuff?
Do you have
a little bit of both.
Do you have any funny stories from the drive-through?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Because I can only
have
imagine.
so many. But what was great was that I got so good at doing drive-through that like I normally got scheduled around like 9 or 10 to come in, and so I'd try to snag it before the lunch rush because I was good at it. But sometimes people wouldn't want to give up the headset because drive-through more or less is like one of the chiller jobs during lunch rush.
Okay.
Like, you're just consistently taking orders. You don't have to, you know,
yeah, right. You're not
make
running
food
around.
or smoothies. So,
Makes sense.
and a couple times I'd ask people, I'd be like, hey, can I please work headset now? And they'd be like, no. And then I would go and like start making
Dang.
smoothies or whatever. And then one of the managers would go over to them and be like, hey, you need to give Kat headset. And so then I would get to do headset. And I was like, yes. So I got so good at it that they would like just kick people off of it. And
They're
I
like,
was
no, she
"Thank you."
takes it.
The chosen
Wow.
one.
But
Chosen.
I had this this one guy. He was an older gentleman, and he always ordered the same thing. I think it was I think it was a blueberry bliss with like Splenda or something. And he always ordered the same thing. And then he would drive up to the window and he'd be like, "Oh, you look so pretty today." I was like, this man's in his 60s. I was like, "Thank you." And I would always wear like bright colored lipstick or whatever, because we had to like pull our hair up and stuff, and it was like, I still want to look a little bit cute. So I would like wear lipstick and stuff, and then he'd be like, "Oh, like your lipstick looks really good today."
Oh my gosh.
I was like, "Thank you." And then like I'd hand him back his card and he'd be like, "Thank you." And I was like, so
ethics.
I started getting really weirded out. This happened like 3 times before I would take his order, and because he always ordered the same thing, I could tell it was him. So I'd call one of like, the teenage boys over, or my brother started working there a year after I did.
No, you just get over like,
And so
yeah, what can I get you?
well, I would take his order. I would always take his order, and he would recognize that it was me and probably, get super excited.
That's my favorite drive-through.
And then I would grab one of the teenage boys that worked there, and I would
he'd
have
be
them
like,
pay him
"You're
out.
so pretty," to
Yeah.
one of them.
Yeah, like
I would-
he's probably thinking like, "I wonder what lipstick she's wearing today." He pulls up,
Probably.
"Oh, your lipstick is a guy." Like, "Oh."
He still goes with it.
Yeah,
Like
he
he's just
still
a
goes.
genuinely nice guy. He just comes across creepy.
I don't
He's
think
like,
so.
"You look nice today too. Very pretty."
You got a pretty mouth.
But so I would have the boys. I would have the boys pay him out and then hand him his smoothie. And it was funny because he always looked super dejected at the window, because I'd like stand a little ways away so I could like still see it, and he would just look so sad. And I was like,
He sees you peeking.
"Sorry, you're being creepy." And then another time,
He's just peeking around the corner.
It's like a sitcom.
He's like, "You want to come work my drive-through window?"
it was really weird. It was just the way he said it, and the way he like made really firm eye contact with you, that I was like, I'm uncomfy.
get it.
I
So
didn't
I
know.
go out of my way, like when someone hands me something, to avoid touching them at all
Yeah.
cost. So it's
Yeah.
like the fact that he's just
Oh.
like, "Oh, money, fingers."
Yeah, for
Yeah.
the listener only, there was a long hand touch, a long interaction of,
Yeah, it
of,
was
of
very-
caressing.
Yeah, whenever I hand something
Ooh.
to Cole now, I'm gonna like put my hand on top of his hand and like hold it and slowly
It gives me
drag
chills
it
thinking about it. Just like
The good kind.
no, not the good kind, the uncomfortable kind.
I've never felt this way before.
Okay, have you ever had the word Bahama Mama screamed at you really
I
loudly?
can't tell you how many times
That's one
I've
of the
heard
drinks,
this.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I would like an extra large. Oh, my mama. What was that? What was that?
Bahama Mama.
What was that? Bahama Mama.
So whenever I took an order in drive-thru, I would read it back and I would go, "Is that correct?" Because at that point, if I didn't get something and you said yes, it's not my fault, because I read it back to you. So this person ordered, and I read them back their order, and I said, "Okie dokie, is that correct?" And they said yes. And I was like, "Okay, cool. Please pull up to the window." They pulled up. I paid them out. I gave them all their stuff. And then I turned around to like do something else or take someone else's order. And then I turned back around to the window, and she was still there. And I was like, "Oh, I messed up." And so,
Oh no!
oh no. And so, I was like, "Hi, I'm sorry. Like, did we forget something?" And she was like, "Where is my Bahama Mama?" And I was like,
She's not referring to a drink either.
She's
then-
in the Bahamas.
and so
I don't know, yo, mama.
With your daddy.
And I checked her order, and there was no Bahama Mama on there, and I'm like,
Bahama daddy.
I'm like, "Ma'am, I'm sorry, like, it's not on your order." I was like, we can make it for you, and I can like, ring it up real fast. And she was basically like, "Forget it." And then, like, I still felt bad, because like maybe I did miss it, and I was like, "Do you want like a 50% off like coupon?" She was like, "Keep it." And I was like, "Okay."
People are so
And then
petty.
I went on with my day. Now
How much does the Bahama Mama cost?
it's like $5.
People get so mad about food.
I know. I don't get it. I
I'm
don't get
like,
it.
just like we'll fix it if we messed up, but like I said, "Is your order correct?" And she said yes.
Dude,
So
I will eat or drink the wrong thing just because I'm like, it's not worth me going back and being like, "Are you?" Because I went back once and She shut me down real hard.
Oh no.
Really?
I was super nice about it, and she was
Yeah.
just like, "Yeah, that's just the way it is." And I was like, "Well, it doesn't make any sense to me." It's like,
Whoa.
Dude, my family always goes back, and they're always nice about it, but we always just get extra stuff that we don't leave till we do. Like,
Karens.
yeah, sounds
well,
about right.
I mean, you order, you pay. It's
Yeah.
different.
No.
Like in that case, she didn't pay for it. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't on the receipt, but like we'll be on
Yeah.
the receipt. Like we just had
Yeah.
Taco Bell the other night, and they didn't have the twists or whatever, the sugar twists. And I was like,
The
I don't,
cinnamon twists.
I don't mind. That's fine, whatever. But there's been other times Taco Bell just seems to be the worst, by the way.
Yeah.
But you'll go and they'll just like forget literally half the order, and
Teresa's
because
like, "We're going back in."
you can't walk in, so you have to wait 30 minutes through the drive-thru again. And I'm just
yeah.
like, yeah, no, I'm. Taco Bell gets a pass.
So that happened to me once, but like I pulled through the next time and went around. I was like, hey, the last time, not a big deal. Like I didn't get the taco that I wanted. And they're like, oh, cool, we'll just give you another taco. It's like, dude, you're
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. See, the thing is, the people at Taco Bell are so chill
Yeah.
that they'll do extra stuff for that. But that's probably the reason they
Yeah, they
forgot
know
it
they forget
in the
stuff
first
half the
place.
So I have a question
Yeah.
for all you guys. I want to know the consensus. Like, so you go to a restaurant, a fast food restaurant, and you've waited in line, you've ordered your stuff, or sorry, you're like waiting in line, you're maybe like second or third, right? If you're another person and your order was like wrong, or you needed something else, like they forgot something, like can you cut in front of everybody, or do you get in line and wait your turn?
Depends on how big.
I just go stand in front of the counter and look like a sad little puppy dog, and normally someone's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, can I help you?" And then I'm like, "I need ketchup," and they're like, "Okay, cool," and then they give it to me.
Yeah.
I don't think I can make the face then. Maybe that's my issue.
Yeah.
I just look pissed.
Yeah, you got the dad face. Yeah.
See-
My daughter is missing a chicken finger.
So my mother will return fries if she deems them not fresh enough.
Holy crap.
It's really funny. My brother and I call her a closeted Karen. Like she's nice about it. She doesn't yell at them, but she's, like if, like, you know how you get those fries sometimes and they're not like done all the way and they're
I
like
get it.
The
squishy.
end of the day fries.
or the ones that are like solid, and she's like, I'm not gonna eat them if they're not good, so she'll just be like, "Hi, I'm sorry, can I have fresh fries?"
Yeah.
She always emphasizes the
Ooh.
fresh. I've
I
seen
mean,
this
I
woman
do
do
get
this
it.
so many times.
That makes sense.
I mean, it does
It's
suck.
really funny.
If you get stale fries or the
Yeah.
wiggly
Yeah.
ones, like you're like, this is like, most of the time it's the reason I go somewhere. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
man, I just need a
You want some
McDonald's
fries?
fry.
Oh,
And then
I
you get it and they're
Yeah.
not salted or something. You're like, ah.
Yeah.
I didn't say what I was going to do. If it's something like Chick-fil-A, they have like the little section off to the side where you can just walk up and wait to get like a refill anyway.
Right.
And so
But most
Chick-fil-A is
places
just
don't
on
have
it.
that.
Yeah, I was going to say at Chick-fil-A they know what's
Chick-fil-A's
up,
special.
and there's a. Well, also like Chipotle too. Chipotle has like the little place to you go in and you stand to the side and like pick up like a mobile order.
Yes.
But if we also do that too and be like, hey, like I didn't get this or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't get enough
But if it's not a place that's not set up for it, I might wait until the line dies down.
Chipotle's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Chipotle.
Chipotle.
Doesn't McDonald's own Chipotle? I'm pretty sure.
What?
No,
No.
they're publicly traded, I thought.
Oh,
How?
They-
Do they?
I thought
Well, I
somebody
guess
did.
you could be owned by someone else and be publicly traded because Alphabet and Google are.
Everything's
That would make me
publicly
kinda sad.
traded.
Who
Man,
owns?
I don't even remember where it like. No, you were giving us your history.
Yeah.
She was
Yeah.
still at the drive-thru.
Yeah.
Smoothie world.
Would you like to hear one more actually wholesome drive-through story?
Sure.
Well, it starts out wholesome and
Major
then it gets
investor.
sad.
Can I ask a question before you go there?
Yes.
So, like, what's the? I've always wondered, and maybe this varies from place to place, but like, can you hear people pretty well? And like, I'm sure it depends on some
Yeah.
factors, but like,
Normally,
what's the audio situation like?
Normally, it was decent. If it's bad, I'll go, "Can you please turn off your vehicle?" And 99% of the time, that's the problem. I had one person that refused to turn off their car, and I got their order wrong because I couldn't hear them. And I was like, "Well, maybe if you had turned off your car, like I very nicely asked you to."
Can you see people? Is there a camera?
We didn't have one at Tropical Smoothie. No,
How do you
Okay.
know when they pull up?
it goes beep, 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 beep,
Oh,
and then you have to hit the button to make it stop beeping.
Oh, so there's like
very
a sensor.
pleasant.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I'm about positive, right? I'm pretty sure Starbucks has a camera.
Yeah.
yeah, I think Starbucks
think I
does,
could
and like
see.
McDonald's do
I
and
figured
stuff.
that I knew there was like a sensor because usually there's like a little bump thing you drive over, but like I never knew how like you guys were told it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, little beep.
Fun beep.
It gets
Little
very
drive-through trivia for you.
Insider knowledge.
the beep gets very aggravating during lunch rush because it's like, you finish taking the order and it's like beep. I'm like, oh my gosh,
It's the same car.
Can you
They
hear,
haven't left
can
yet.
you hear them while it's beeping? Like if like people
No.
start yelling at it.
Well, what's funny is the number of times that I've heard people turn to the person behind and be like, okay, what do you want? It's like, I think I'll do this. Or the kids, they're screaming. The mom's like, please be quiet. I'm trying to order your chicken nuggets. We don't have chicken nuggets, but it's really funny. Like the kid will be screaming, the mom's freaking out, and then she'll be like, okay, can we please have? And I'm like, that's funny because you don't know I can hear you.
I've always wondered.
And now, a quick break to hear from our sponsors. Coffee House 5. With locations in Franklin and Greenwood and soon a third in Bargersville, Coffee House 5 is Johnson County's premier independent coffee shop to relax, study, or meet friends around great coffee and great food Monday through Saturday. Whether it's a handcrafted espresso or a single origin pour-over, you'll enjoy the freshest, smoothest coffee possible roasted in-house at their Franklin location using a unique airbed roasting process. And don't forget to pair your coffee with a ham and cheddar scone, biscuits and gravy made with their award-winning Parmesan chive biscuit, or any of their other pastries and sandwiches prepared in their Franklin kitchen using family recipes in a style they call Midwest comfort food. As if that's not enough to get your attention, Coffee House 5 is a for-benefit coffee house. All profits are invested in building a stronger community through their support of local mental health services, which you can read more about on their website, coffeehouse5.com. So next time you're in Franklin or Greenwood, and soon Bargersville, stop by Coffee House 5.
I've always wondered.
Did it ever freak you out, like when people would come up and they'd be like, I think I want, and then they order and you're like, are you sure this is what you want? If you're saying you think, that's how my mom orders. She's like, I think I'll have that. And my dad's always like, you think?
You think, or do you know? Well, what was worse were the people that'd be like, hi, I just need a minute. And I'd be like, okay, please tell me when you're ready to order. But they don't actually, because normally I'll walk away and like do something else. Like I'll help somebody out. And
if you got time to lean, you got time to clean.
And sometimes the people are good and they're like, okay, I'm ready to order now. And then I, skirt back to the register and I'm like, okay, what can I get for you? But other times they just be like, okay, I would like this. And this. And I was like, whoa, I was over here pouring a smoothie. Can you repeat that, please? But there was this one very wholesome interaction that I had in the drive-thru. Because this guy, I swear he'd come there every single day for lunch. He worked at the hospital. And so I normally worked the lunch rush, so I kept seeing him repeatedly. And I worked like 3 days out of the week. So I'd see him a lot. And he always ordered the exact same thing. And it got to the point where, first of all, I like chopped all my hair off. Like it was down to my shoulders. And he came through the drive-thru one day and he was like, oh, you got a haircut. It looks nice. And I was like, aw, thanks. I'm like 18 years old. This guy works at the hospital. He's got to be in his 20s. But I was like, that's sweet of you to notice. So I was like, I feel like since you noticed my haircut, we can be on a first name basis now. I was like, I'm Kat. He was like, I'm Clark. Clark, if you're listening.
Not Clark and Kat.
I'm sorry for the end of this story. I felt jilted. Anyway, so.
Beep.
So what's funny is I was dating a very toxic individual at this point. So I joked about it being like my drive-through romance, and this person did not appreciate that. I was like, oh my gosh, it's a joke. But anyway, so it got to the point because he always ordered the same thing. So
drive-through romance sounds pretty bad. Just so we're aware.
I think we just can start our second business.
Yeah. Do you have any TRIFLIX romances?
Not yet.
But it got to the point because he always ordered the same thing. He'd start his order and I'd be like, it's okay, Clark, you can just pull forward, I got it. So I'd like, go ahead and put his order in. But we did this thing where you could donate to Camp Sunshine. And I was really good at this. My tactic might be a little questionable, but
ethics.
But my manager said it was a great way to raise money. So I kept
So the
doing
manager was like, "You're
Yeah.
Gucci."
Yeah.
You had a full approval from Tropical
deductions, baby.
Smoothie Incorporated.
So so normally when you like are in a drive-thru in a restaurant and they're like raising money for something, they're like, "Would you like to donate to whatever?" And you're like, "No," because you don't know what it is. But I would always go, "Hi, your total's whatever," when they got to window, and I'd be like, and then I would be like, "Do you know what Camp Sunshine is?" And they'd be like, "No." And I'd be like, "Well, it's a camp for children with life-threatening illnesses to go to with their families. Would you like to make a donation?"
Nope.
And at that point, you're a terrible person if you don't donate.
Oh, dude, isn't there like a Key and Peele sketch on that too? Like going to they're going to a store and like they just keep asking you, and then they like pull out the megaphone and they're like, "This gentleman would you like to continue checking out without donating to Camp Sunshine?" No, it's South Park. That's who it is.
I was gonna say, I know I've seen it somewhere.
And then like the whole store is just aware that you wouldn't donate to help, as you put it, like starving children with crippling needs and like whatever.
I got almost like $1,000 in donations in a summer doing that. So
was it a roundup system or did they pick them out?
You could round up, you could pick them out, but we also had 52 free smoothies for a year. I can't remember how much you had to donate for that, but it was actually like the amount was actually less than 52 smoothies. So this person came through the drive-thru like every single day for lunch, and so I was like, "Hey, I don't know if you'd be interested, but we're doing this whole fundraising bit, and the 52 smoothies for a year thing is technically cheaper than buying 52 smoothies each time you come in." And I was like, "So would you be interested in donating?" And he was like, "I'll think about it." And I was like, "Okay, cool." So I asked him again the next time I saw him, and I asked him again the next time I saw him. And every time he'd be like, "I'll think about it." And I'm like, "Okay."
You're like, "Dude, you're not thinking about it at all."
You do that.
You're like, "You've been here 52 times."
Right? And I was basically like, like in the long run, it would save you some money. Like, I know it's a lot to throw out there at once, but good deed, saving you money. Anyway.
How much would it be?
I can't remember.
Oh, gotcha. I was just curious with the donation.
I can't remember what it was. I wish I could. But one day, it dawned on me that I hadn't seen this person in a long time in the drive-thru, and I was like, "Did I scare him away?" I'm like, because if he had said no, I would have like never asked him again.
Yeah, right.
He just kept thinking.
He just wanted to think about it more.
I'm like, "Come on, just have the guts to say no, okay?" Anyway,
right. Stop telling me you'll think about it. I know you're not thinking about it.
But so one day,
start getting more and more aggressive. Sorry.
One day after this had dawned on me, it was in the middle of the lunch rush, and the drive-thru was backed up so far that like I couldn't take orders, and so I like turned around to do something, and I saw this man placing his order inside with inside.
Ooh.
So he jilted me. I felt very jilted.
And the cashier goes, "Would you like to donate?"
You're like, "No."
Now what's very funny is one of our doors wasn't working at the time. There were 2 doors to get into the store, and one of them wasn't working, and it had a sign on it that was like, "Please use the other door." And I watched this man try and exit through the door that didn't work. And it was really funny, and I was
I win.
I was like, "Oh darn!" And then I subbed several times. I worked for like 3 more months after that before I went away to school, and then I would like sub on breaks and stuff, and I never saw him again. And I'm like, I feel like I scared him away, and I'm really sad. So
scared Clark away.
That was the end of that. So
of your drive-thru
sad.
romance.
Yep.
I've heard things about the donation through like businesses like at Best Buy or like other places. I've heard that they just kind of collect all that money and then they donate it, and then they can use it as like a tax write-off because they donate it. And that rubs me the wrong way.
That's interesting.
I don't like it.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, but then you're not really actually donating the money. You're giving it to a business to then donate the money.
But,
I understand. I'm
they're
not saying
raising the money.
I'm not saying it's right.
So that you don't want them to benefit from helping people?
No, I'd rather just give it directly to the charity.
Yeah,
the convenience.
Then I could use it as a tax write-off.
We'll
Did you do that?
No.
Okay, didn't think so.
But I want the
that's
option.
why I don't do it, because I think they want more of the write-offs.
Yeah. Well,
So it's just free money to them because they're not actually doing anything.
Yeah.
Free money.
The main reason I got so good at trying to get donations for this was because each day that you worked, if you had the most number of donations, you got an extra $20. And each week that you had the highest amount of donations, I think you either got another 20 bucks. Yeah, you got another $20. So I tended to walk out every single week that summer with $50 extra.
I tell you, that's where the money comes from. It's from the tax write-offs.
I'm raising,
They're just giving it back to the
I'm
employees.
raising my own money. I don't know. It was like it was a really good incentive. Like people actually did like.
You are
try
aware
and
that we
raise
have
money.
a commission plan, right?
Yeah.
I know.
Okay, it's more than $20.
Would you like to donate money to a group of ding dongs that run a business in exchange for services?
Nope, not at all.
And then we take that money and we kick some of it back to our employees.
She's just like,
It's a novel idea.
Have you heard about TRIFLIX?
Yeah.
It's a group of just the
The
craziest.
smartest people in the world.
Well,
Yeah,
Yeah.
very
my
intelligent.
favorite thing is when I say I work for TRIFLIX, they're like, "Oh, what do they do?" And I'm like, media.
You're like, oh,
TRIFLIX stuff.
Actually, I have no idea.
I always say media, and they're like what? I'm like,
What is media?
I'm like
Digital
videos
media.
and photography, and
But I always
You
feel
just
dumb when people are like, "What do you do?" And it's like, "Oh, photo, video," and they're like, "Oh."
yeah,
It's
I know.
like,
which is why I always say media first,
You
and then
get
they're like, "What
PTSD.
media?"
of just like Monday flashbacks of just
Yeah.
like the software, like Monday.
I'm just
no, not
waiting.
Monday.
Like, what is not media, right?
I'm
It's like
waiting
for
audio,
someone-
photo, video,
Yeah,
and graphics. I don't.
To have the reaction to you, like, oh, we like to do like photo and video, and be like, oh, like the news. It's like the day, like you die a
probably
little
very
bit on the
old.
inside. Yeah.
I make TikTok. That's what
Yeah,
I do.
TikTok.
I make TikTok.
Oh, you're an influencer.
I influence none.
Like, I have influence over 3 people.
It's true.
you know what's funny is that I started talking about the drive-through, and we never finished the story about how I wound up here.
That's
Oh,
okay.
it's
That's
all right.
okay. We were super interested about the
It's
drive-through.
just a conversation.
Great segue for what happened
I'm
next.
pretty sure that Kat and I the only ones that have worked in the service industry. I know you did
Right.
retail, so that's close.
Yeah,
It's not the same thing.
It's
but
not the
Nah,
greatest
What is-
food
I went straight
industry.
to corporate after retail.
What is
Yeah.
considered service industry? Food?
No, you were retail too.
Yeah. So
did you do
I
retail?
I only did Mike's Car Wash for a little bit, and then Best Buy.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
okay.
were service and retail.
I can only imagine. I'm sure Best Buy was rough.
It was weird at times.
I
Like
guarantee
people
it.
would come in and like some old people would be like, "I'm gonna buy a laptop, and you better throw in a printer for me." I'm like, "What?" I was like, "I can't do that." It was like, "There's not a sale going on." I was like, "I'm buying something from you. Why don't you do something for me?"
You're like, I am. I'm helping
I
you
was
figure
like-
out what to buy.
It was like,
You
"You can't
turd."
work that price down." I was like, "No, the price is what's right there."
See, this is the problem with Best Buy. You go to Rural King and you say you got any coupons, they'll whip out a whole book and they'll
Here
just
you
start
go.
scanning stuff.
They'll tell you like the best items too. Like you go down to aisle 12, you can find
Yeah.
the best hay bales for you.
Well, you guys didn't make commission, right?
No, not at Best Buy.
Okay.
No.
We did.
What? Where?
You did. Yeah. Where did you work?
It's when you push credit cards.
Oh yeah.
Hey, would you like to sign up a credit card for 30% off your next purchase? You get
they
an additional
pushed us.
5%
Best Buy
every
had
month.
credit cards, but
That's
it
true.
was like for only the whole store to benefit type of thing.
Oh, that's
It was
dumb.
weird. Yeah.
Yeah, if there's no
Ew.
personal gain,
Yeah.
what's
No.
the point?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they would give you charts of like,
make my
hey,
hourly
you're not
either way.
selling enough like cell phone accessories. We need to push those. I'm like, I'm going to sell things that people need. They're going to come in for like printer cartridges. I'm not going to sell them a phone case.
So
And that's why we have our differences.
Well, I don't get commissions.
That's why
It's
you
like,
shouldn't
I'm
be
not
in
going to
sales
force this.
anymore.
you've rekindled a thought that I haven't had in a while. We had a manager at the store.
Yeah.
Who,
What store did you work at?
It was at Carson's. They were in the mall in
Do
Columbus.
we need to
and they're-
bleep that?
Nah,
Oh,
they're
nah.
out of business.
I was gonna say,
Oh,
it's been long enough.
Screw Carson's.
So we had a
In Best Buy, it's Smoothie Island.
Yeah, Smoothie
tropical
Tropical
My
smoothie.
Best in
Smoothie
Smoothie Island.
Smoothie Island.
I love Buy Best. Get a lot of good deals there.
Best buy carpets.
So we had a manager come in who was just top of the sales every month for credit cards. and we found out that she was telling old people that just didn't have the foresight to understand that it wasn't required, and she was just like strong arming old
my
people
gosh.
into getting credit
Dude,
cards.
people are really aggressive. I went and bought like
It was like a low-paying job, though.
Yeah.
Like this wasn't like selling diamonds at Diamond Direct or something. This
Yeah.
isn't.
Yeah, but what was
this
the
isn't
kickback?
Rolls Royces.
What was the kickback on it though?
Like
what's the incentive?
Like $500. Like this was a job as a manager. You made like $15 to $20 an hour, which I'm not discrediting.
Yeah.
But the fact that she was like so shady for, I would say currently today is like an average-ish job for the most part. Like you could, if you have some management experience, you could probably find a management job for around the same price that doesn't require you to be unethical.
Yeah, but you're saying like if you
It was commission based for the credit cards.
wow.
so whatever.
It was like hundreds of dollars. It wasn't thousands. It was like small potatoes. But
Still,
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be happy
I'm
with
not saying
extra
it's
money.
right, but I'm just saying it's extra.
In terms of exchanging morality for money, I view $500 to be low. Like my price is a little higher. That's all I'm saying.
I'd do
I
it.
went and bought pillows and like
Sign
bed
me up.
sheets
$500
at
bucks?
Kohl's.
Yeah.
And like the lady at the cash register was like trying to steamroll me for the Kohl's card.
Yes, they
It
do.
was like it just like pissed me off, but I was still nice to her. But she was like trying to calculate how much I would save. I like financed my stupid pillows, and I was like, no, I think I'm good. He's like, all right, if you don't want $200 free or whatever.
So,
I'm like,
if you don't like free money,
I was like, I'll save it for a purchase that actually matters.
well, here's the
Wow.
thing. She
Yeah.
ended up getting arrested.
It was that bad.
What? It was that.
She was stealing from the registers.
Oh my gosh!
But you know the best part? Her son worked at the company as well in my
Oh.
department.
That's awkward.
He didn't
Classy.
leave. He didn't leave. So he still had his job, but his mom got arrested for working at the same company.
He's like, I didn't do nothing.
What? Yeah, why
Yeah.
not?
Did you make commission a chocolate smoothie?
Well, minus the fundraising bit.
Yeah.
That was it.
Oh.
You would have done
Yeah.
great at selling old people credit cards. I could feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Just leave the money
I'm not that
in the
mean.
register.
I'm trying to think. There wasn't much for us to upsell at the restaurant.
Tips.
There really wasn't.
I'll dance for an extra $20.
I mean, there were definitely times when you're like, hey, like get the bigger coffee or the larger sake or whatever, because you're like, it works out in your favor.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the thing I think, the price per plate was up there, so it didn't really. You're like, if two people came in, they spent $120. You're like, it's a happy day, anyways.
Like I would bring up like the Best Buy card when I was working there, but I would explain like how it worked like in detail, so they would know what they're getting into. It's like you have to make the payments, like it's free, 0 interest for only 12 months, and so you don't have it paid off until then. It starts stacking big time.
Were they doing a compound? Like
it's
once you got done with the 12, did it pull the 12 in?
so,
usually. That's usually how business
it
credit
would
cards
do
work like that.
something like that, and if like you missed a payment, it would like compound really hard too.
Yeah.
But then you could it was like you can make minimum payments, but also like if it wasn't like the actual amount for the month too, it would like not also count too.
It
It's
would
like you
only
have
go
to
towards
make
interest.
the correct amount. So like when you hit the 12 months, it's completely paid off.
Yeah, that's the thing. They give you the minimum amount up front, right? And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is awesome. And you think you're paying towards all of it.
Nope.
And being done in 12 months. No.
No, nope, not at all.
That's how I learned
it's
about
crazy.
compound interest. That one hit pretty hard. That was my couch.
Yeah.
That made me really mad.
Oh, Lovesack?
Ashley Furniture.
Oh, yours isn't Lovesack?
No.
We were just up at the
It was
Keystone
Ashley
Mall.
Furniture.
I was like, hey, that's Cole's cool couch.
Whole school count.
No, man, that's Ashley.
Yeah.
It's
Looks
CCC.
nice.
Basic. But no,
Basic
it made me really mad. Because I was like, oh, we're so close to being done. And I was like, great, we'll take care of this. And it was like 1 month. It was just like, boom, you owe this much more money. And I was like, what? I thought I was doing it right. And I was like, it's a fail on society. No one tells you about compound interest.
So that's our new slogan, TRIFLIX. Mostly ethical.
We should
Mostly.
We should start
Predominantly.
Mostly.
financing on all of our.
We can offer you a TRIFLIX credit card. Backed by Chase.
Oh my god!
Got one client that I wish would have done that.
Oh gosh.
That will
Kat,
remain nameless. Okay.
No, that's
was
it
Tropical
predates.
Smoothie your
it
only work
predates our
experience
company.
before TRIFLIX?
No. So, at one point in college, I was working 3 jobs. They were
Oh
all
my
on
gosh.
campus jobs,
Okay.
which made it, actually feasible. Because I didn't have a car until my last semester of
Oh
college.
my gosh. Okay.
Couldn't have lived.
But I just made lots of friends with cars. Like I would find the people that I knew had cars, and then I would become friends with
I don't know
them.
why, but I just imagined you making friends with cars. Like I just made friends with cars. Like hey, red Corvette. Hey, black Kia. We're all friends.
I do get weirdly attached to
It becomes a Disney
vehicles that are like quirky vehicles. Like, they all have like, they're old, they're falling apart. So like certain things don't work and you have to do things certain ways to make them like, I don't know. They're adorable. Like my,
I love the one you got to put the crank in and crank
Yeah.
it up and go.
my,
Yabba dabba doo.
Don't get too close; it'll smack you in the jaw, and then you'll have summer teeth.
like,
Summer here. So what are summer teeth?
Yes.
Summer teeth are just like when you're missing teeth, I think.
Yeah, it's summer here, summer there.
Yeah.
That's funny. Go ahead. Sorry, Kat.
so like my boyfriend's current vehicle is, it's in, I think
got 4 wheels.
Well, I think it's a 93, but it's a Jeep Cherokee. And I love this Jeep, but like every like 3 months it's like I might die tomorrow, and then I'm like I'm emotionally attached to it, and
It's
I'm
like
like
physically wheezing.
It's like a pet.
basically. But I don't know, it's just so
Jalopy.
it's just a very iconic like it's just iconic, like the boyfriend and the Jeep. Like
They are one.
They are one. Without the Jeep, it doesn't work. Like,
Like the Holy Trinity, but the Cherokee and the boyfriend.
yeah. But
So the Jeep goes away. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You're done.
but anyway,
Bye bye
so
boyfriend.
bye. No,
Brian.
I'm only dating you
Brian?
for the Cherokee.
No, what's his name?
Ryan.
What's his
okay,
name?
Adam.
Adam.
Same thing.
Brian.
Well, no, it's funny
Too loud.
because I'm like I'm like, dude, I
Need to reach out to him.
I come with a car and a house and a dark room. I'm like, I don't know what more you could want over here.
What's a dark room?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. For
put you in
people
my
who have
car,
no
then my house and
idea
my dark
what
room.
photography is. A dark room sounds real weird.
It's all consensual.
Okay, well, so the 3 jobs I worked at college,
What?
one of
Oh, yeah.
them
There we go.
was in the dark room. I was the dark room
What is
teacher
the dark room?
assistant,
You need
and
to tell
the
people.
Dark
Close your
room.
eyes. It's
No.
kind of like that.
Well, yeah, the dark room
Creepy red
is
light.
sometimes it is just pitch black. The dark room is where you go to do all things related to your film photography.
Thank you.
After
Gosh.
you've taken your photos. So,
It's like pulling teeth.
It's that dark room that you lock yourself
So-
in for long periods of
so-
time.
I mean, you do actually.
I know.
So for people who know what disposable cameras are,
Well, yeah. Why do you have to go in a dark room?
Yeah.
Can I just open up Lightroom?
you would take all your photos.
I like Lightroom.
What's a Lightroom?
Not
So-
dark
Is that
room.
why it's called that?
Yes.
What? You're getting
Yes.
too confusing. Two
That's actually
different
why it's
rooms.
called Lightroom.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
the photo editor is because that's so cool.
A lot of the tools in like Lightroom and Photoshop,
I
like
never put that together.
like the dodge and burn. That's literally what you do when
I knew
you're
that.
printing.
That's
so.
I knew that. I thought that was cool.
I knew it.
I am a photographer now.
No, you're not.
But anyway,
never known
so
that. That's awesome.
once you take your film photos, film is panchromatic, so it's sensitive to all wavelengths of light. So if you expose it to light, if you expose it to light through the lens of a camera, you get that picture. If you expose it to light not in that way, then it just dies, and then you cry a lot.
Right, because at that point, that's your only photo. Like that's your only beginning of a photo.
Yeah.
So once it's gone, it's gone.
So once you take the photo with your camera, you have a latent image. So it's there, but it's not there yet. You can't see it. So
It's invisible.
you go into the dark room. And you lock the door behind you, and you yell at people to not come in, or you'll kill them.
Yes.
The dark room is kind of like a violent place. We get really protective of our film.
Does it have like the spinny door?
Yes. That's for something else, though.
Oh.
But I'll get to it.
I thought it was
But-
just a trash bag, like a black plastic
Well,
trash bag.
those are portable dark rooms. You stick your hands in the black bag and change stuff out if you don't have an actual
Blind?
dark room.
Or do you put it over your head too?
You stick your hands in the bag.
Yeah.
Just your hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying
In
you
the
wouldn't be able
bag.
to see in the bag, right?
You're not in the bag. Just your hands are in the bag.
Yeah.
I have one. I
But
should
how do
have
you know
brought
what?
it.
How do you know what you're doing if you can't see in the
You-
bag?
You use your
Practice.
hands. There's
Yeah.
a lot of
That's
touching.
what I was getting at.
There's
I'm
a
sorry.
lot of touching and feeling
I
going
just
on.
imagined she's like
Anyway.
got this
So this is
trash bag pull
required for developing film.
So you go into the dark room and
Yeah.
you lock the door. I feel like you're the only one genuinely here for this.
I've watched a whole video
I'm here
on
for
this.
this. I
I
don't
already
know what
know
you
what you're
mean.
talking about, so I'm trying to help.
I've actually been taking notes.
Yeah, my questions are genuine. Okay, guys.
You're just leading into
I'll
the
just shut up now. Sorry.
It's like if Jimmy Fallon,
Triflix dad.
Jimmy Fallon interviewing someone just plays like a complete buffoon. He's like asking the most like the softball questions. He's like, I'm trying my best to set him up.
Anyway,
It's okay. Digital's better.
It's like
you're in the dark.
Tracy Morgan.
Shh, don't say that. I'll come for you. So you go into the dark room,
Yeah.
right? You have your tank, which is a canister, and you have two lids.
A tank and a canister are two different things.
Well,
though.
your canister is the whole thing, okay? Your tank is just the little thing. And then you have
His name is Thomas.
a reel. And so you take your film in the complete darkness,
Okay.
and then you put it on the reel. You put the reel in the canister, put the lid on, and then put the baby lid on it, and then you can turn on the lights. Then
Okay.
it is safe. So since there's two lids,
Sort of.
one lid is like completely light tight. Yes.
Yes, you in the back.
When you're so still when you're doing the process of putting it in the tank, like again, it's pitch black, right? Like you're just doing everything by like muscle memory.
Well, it's a
and
dark
that's
room.
it.
All right.
No, I understand, but I'm just saying, like, I know she said
I'm just messing with you.
sometimes there's a red light, sometimes there's not. So I'm also imagining like
Night
you have
vision goggles.
you have to. That would be awesome, but it's like you have
Yeah.
to learn the process, right? Because it's like you can't see. So I just have the finite, the little finesse question.
Dude, it'd be so
portions
fun
of
to
it.
do like a Call of Duty video where you're like Kat's wearing the goggles and she's like it's going
Yeah.
dark and she like puts on the night goggles
Yeah.
and then like she goes in the scene, but it's
It's
just
got the same.
Yeah.
yeah, you're doing all your
But,
photography.
how we taught people in the darkroom classes where we had strips of film that were from failures, so we use people's failures to teach other people so they don't fail.
Makes sense.
So we would teach you how to do it in light, and we'd make you practice it, and once you were confident doing it, looking at it, then we had you close your eyes and see if you could do it, and then we took you into the completely black room.
Dang.
Yes.
Did you have anyone with like vision impairment in your class?
Me.
What's your vision impairment?
I've had bifocals since I was 2.
Oh, I think he means more of
Like what?
Like
blindness.
Yeah,
Blindness?
like vision, like in terms of not seeing light.
Or like
How would
creative
they
vision? Is
Take
that what you're
the
saying?
pictures.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I assume this
That's
is
true.
like
Yeah.
at like
How
a
are they taking
production.
the
I assume this
pictures?
is like a person's job. Like if you went to a company and you were developing film, is this like one person's job, or is this like a photographer? This is just part of their process.
Both.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's why I was just curious. I was like, it sounds like you don't need eyes to do this job when you're in this room. So I didn't understand if it was
I
needed.
mean-
Great observation.
Well, we're only what 50% through the process, right?
We're
not
I'm just
even.
we're only like
So
a
easy
third of
on-
the way through the process.
Okay, hold on. We've only made a third of the way through the process. Continue.
Please hold your questions for the end of,
fine.
of the of the explanation.
No
Okay.
guarantees.
No.
I'm so sorry.
Dumb
So-
question. You know it. I'm messing with
Do
you.
we need to recap how where we've gone
What
so
have we
far?
done so far?
She went in the room and she locked the door behind her.
Right.
And
turned
now
off
it's
all the lights.
Yeah, now it's real dark in there.
dark in
no
the room.
red light.
Canisters,
Now,
tanks,
what's funny
lids.
is that if you're in there long enough, your brain starts to try and put the room, like the things in the room, to back together in your mind, and it's really weird. Like, my boyfriend Adam, he's done it so much that like he
Like you think you're
like,
seeing the thing.
He has like night vision. It's really freaky. Like he knows where stuff is. I'm like, how did you not like, tap around? Like he just like knows. I'm like,
Dude.
that's creepy.
Makes sense.
Anyway,
I can find
So-
my phone when I'm in bed.
If I use my watch and I push the button.
and I grab it, know exactly where it is. Don't even have to open my eyes.
but once you have your film in the tank, in the canister,
With two lids.
you can go
listening.
and develop it.
Yes.
And that's a whole thing. You measure out the different chemicals. There's developer, stop bath, and fixer. I had to think about it because they switched it up my senior year and started doing it differently, and they took out a step and like changed stuff, and I was like, please stop.
How
I don't know
dare
what I'm
they.
doing anymore. How am I supposed to teach people something I don't know how to do? Anyway, so you do that. Once you do fixer, yay, your film has been fixed. Haha, it's safe in the light.
My cat.
And then
Cat.
Oh my gosh.
You have a cat named Fixer?
No, you know,
Get
you
it?
get it? You get a cat fixed.
Yay, it's fixed.
It's a real stretch.
I know what I. And now, a quick break to hear from our sponsors. Passion for Acting Theater Company. Passion for Acting Theater Company has a passion for bringing excellent and entertaining live theater to audiences in Bartholomew County. Passion for Acting Theater Company, created in 2018, performs dinner theater productions at the terrific and eclectic Willow Leaves of Hope on the Square in Hope, Indiana. Their first production, The Miracle Worker, was a huge success and received great reviews from audience members. Since then, Passion for Acting Theater Company has performed 10 shows, ranging from comedies like The Kitchen Witches and The Odd Couple, to drama and suspense like the original murder mystery Angel Street, to classic children's literature like The Secret Garden and Anne of Green Gables. Their next show will be Kalamazoo, a comedy about what happens when older folks try to get into the online dating scene. Kalamazoo will be performed at Willow Leaves of Hope in February, just in time for a Valentine's Day or to laugh the winter blues away. Enjoy a delicious dinner and a great night of entertainment at Willow Leaves of Hope. Phone number is 812-341-7251. Call now to make reservations for this laugh out loud comedy. I know, but I like it.
anyway, so then you rinse your film for like 10 minutes in the stop bath.
Just like your cat.
And then the most fun step of developing film, I think, is photo flow, because it's fun. Basically, photo flow helps it so you don't get like watermarks on your film when you dry it. So you
Okay.
you overflow the photo flow, and then you wipe away all the bubbles, and then you drop your reel of film in, and then you let it sit there for like a minute. And then sometimes when the people who are teaching you how to do this want to laugh at you, I guess, I don't know, they tell you that you have to spin it the entire minute, which apparently you don't actually have to do. So
I like it.
thank you.
Wow.
Anyway, so
Still in the dark.
gaslighting.
so yeah. So
Still in the dark?
No,
No.
No.
it's in the tank now. You can see in.
Well, I didn't know if you
can
turned
see
the lights
light.
on in the room, but like it's out of the tank,
Well,
but I didn't know if the
okay,
lights are
I'm
still
sorry.
off.
It was the fixer that did it, right?
Right.
Well, yeah, but it's in the tank.
It's in a dark room.
It's in the tank. So this can be done in light. Once your film's in the tank, you can go out into the light and dance around in the sun for all I care. Anyway,
Okay.
Yep.
so
But
yes.
Oh boy.
But the tank has lids on it, right? So
Yes.
you can't see the film or like mess
can't-
with it?
You can't see the film, but you can pour the chemicals into it because there's two lids. So you take off the top lid.
Ah.
I should have brought all my stuff. I knew I should have brought all my
We're
stuff.
going to have to make a
I'm
video
s-
about this.
I'm
I'm just
such a
saying.
visual-
Cole was like, "No, it's fine."
Well, it's just one of
So-
those, it's a podcast.
I know,
like-
I know.
90% of people.
It's like a
Okay.
radio show.
Well,
On
So
the
I've been
internet.
tracking
we're
so
all
far.
inclusive, okay? I don't
Yeah.
want it to be like the listeners can't
So-
see it and the seers can't listen. I don't know.
You're,
Yeah.
You said you watched a whole video on it,
Yes.
David, so you're
I watched a whole
familiar
person do this.
with some of the
Yes.
process.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
have
I've seen the
zero
whole-
bunk
yeah, yeah.
all knowledge of any of this.
Yeah.
Other than
I
there's a room
actually- You and
that's
me!
dark.
I actually made a video of
And then what
this for
she's
one of my
explained so far.
projects at school. So
Is it
it's-
on YouTube?
Did I put it on YouTube?
Well, we need to bring
It's
the
probably unlisted. I need to like actually.
when your
put it.
room's done. We need to bring the Ronin and
Yeah.
put it at 5,000 ISO. And
Make a whole bougie
So
video
there's a
for
light
it.
switch in the dark room. You can just turn it on and off.
Mhm.
Okay, that makes way
That's
more
like-
sense. I
So-
thought the room was just dark and there was no way to make it bright.
No.
And you do
No
like
way.
it's
So-
fixed,
it's like
but
a
I'm
big
still working.
switch, so no one
once-
accidentally.
Once the film is in the canister, it is safe to do stuff in the light.
Okay.
So you've developed your film, you put it through PhotoFlow. If you're, a school and you're fancy, or you're just rich and you can chill out like over $1,000 for a film dryer, then you put your film in the dryer and let it dry for 10 minutes. If you're not, then you just clip it up in a safe place in your house and wait 24 hours. That's what I'm currently doing.
That's what you like see in the movies all the time. It's like they're always like on clotheslines all around like the crime scene and stuff. Not that the crime
crime
scene.
scene.
They're,
So-
they're
Crime scenes.
solving for a crime scene.
So
Yep.
you have your pictures on your, I'm assuming you're doing 35 millimeter film. This is where I've been going on.
Of course.
So, it's like that wide, that's your film strip. Okay. And then, depending on if you have 24 exposures or 20 or 36 exposures, it's pretty long. And then once you're done drying it, you get to take it out and cut it. We normally do like 5 photos a cut, and then you put it in these protective sleeves, and then that's how you store it until you want to go print it, or you can scan it, which is nice because then you can take the photos that you developed in the darkroom and put them into Lightroom and tweak them. But if you're gonna do it
Digital photography.
but if you're gonna do it completely analog, then you would take your film, and this is where the red light comes in.
Oh.
So photography paper for black and white. This is black and white. I've never printed color paper. I've developed color photos. That's a whole separate thing. That's stressful. So to develop black and white film, it takes like 30-ish minutes maybe. To develop color film, it takes 15 minutes, and the water is like 120 degrees, and your chemicals are like 120 degrees.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's fun. You get to use a thermometer. It's hot.
Gloves?
It hurts. I use gloves. The weirdos don't.
Does it make your hands colorful?
There's this one thing called Blix, which is red and kind of looks like blood.
Oh.
Yeah, it's fun. You can come develop color film. You'd like it.
Sounds cool. That's,
He would.
I say you just
Have a
develop
good
your black
time.
and white, scan it in, and then colorize it with Photoshop.
oh, so they
Just
are.
shoot color film.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, can't you shoot color?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you're making it
Yeah.
sound like the process of developing color film though is more difficult than black and white.
No, it's easier. It's faster. It's
Oh,
easier.
Gotcha.
It's less steps.
But is it easier to make mistakes?
Why
when
don't you do it?
Developing color?
I do it.
I thought you said you only did black and white. I thought you said you didn't do
No,
color.
I was saying I've been describing black and white.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
No, she developed my film.
Yeah.
It was color.
That was color, wasn't it?
Mhm. It was fun. It's just stressful because the process is so much faster, but it's
gotcha.
also nicer because the process is so much faster.
Right.
But anyway, so
Sorry.
when you go to print your black and white photos, that paper is orthochromatic. So it's not sensitive to the red wavelengths of light, which is why you can have the red light in the dark room.
That makes sense
Yay!
now.
That's how they used to do old school VFX. Was with different films that could expose to different lights.
Interesting.
So like you would have a person's face covered in like red blood makeup,
Yeah.
and then you would be able to cut between different film,
Mhm.
and that way the blood would only be visible in certain, depending on whichever film's being shown, or blue
Interesting.
or green or whatever piece of film you're using.
Interesting.
Or they would do it with like, usually with practical you would have the lens in front, like a plate of glass
Or gel.
or gel. Yeah. So yeah,
Cool.
that's really cool. I didn't realize
I
photo
know
and
terms. I vocabulary.
video overlap on photo and video.
Paste.
Yep.
Paste.
So to print a photo completely analog for black and white, you put your film, your little strip, you pick your photo, you put it in a negative carrier, and then you put it in this thing called an enlarger. It's fun. It has a light. You turn on the light, you focus your image, set it up on your easel the way you want it to. It's not like a painting easel. It's well, I mean, it depends on how big you're making the print. Actually, I don't know how to describe this
So
well.
this is like a projector, right? Because you're basically shining a light onto.
It's projector E. So, first you do these things called test strips where you test how long your exposure is going to be. Which something that's interesting is generally because enlargers have a lens on them, and it used to be that the lens that you shot the photo on, that's what you would use in your enlarger to project it onto your piece of paper.
Okay.
So that's interesting. We didn't
Yeah.
do that in the darkroom at school. We just had the lenses already in the enlargers. But so generally you put your enlarger lens at like f16, f11 to make sure everything is in focus. And obviously, your aperture is how much light you're letting in. So that also changes how long you're going to, what's the word I'm looking for? Expose your print for. So maybe like, I don't know, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. If it's a really, really dark negative, or rather if it's a really light negative, it would make a really dark photo. I don't know how to describe this well, but I think the longest exposure I've had was like 57 seconds. It was the longest minute of my life. But I got the picture. And then there are also these things called filters, and that's how you do like the contrast of your image.
Okay. Wow.
So you set all this up, you've done your test strips, so you know what exposure is going to look good. And then with just the red light on, you put your piece of paper in the easel and you line it all up, and then you hit the button and the light comes on and exposes the paper. And then you do developer, stop bath, and fixer again, but just for your paper. And then you put it in a final wash, and then you have a picture. Yay! Now, the main reason I haven't ever printed color photos is because that process is also done like in the dark, and it's so much work. Like for that,
Because you wouldn't be able to use the red light. Yeah.
because the color paper is also panchromatic. I think that's the way it should be described. But so you do everything the same with the enlarger, but then you turn with the red light, and then you turn off all the lights, and you put your piece of paper in, you expose it, then you put the paper into this like another like tube thing, and then you can go out into the light and develop it. And that's a whole thing. And I was like, yeah.
I want to try to remember what all those chemicals do. So you have the developer, you have the stop, and then the fixer, and that's the order you use them in. And so on the film, it's like some sort of chemical. It's like silver or something.
Silver halide crystals.
Boom. And so when the light hits it,
Boom.
it remembers what it is because, like, take a picture, the light hits it, and then it changes something about the silver. But it's still, like, reactive to all the other stuff that didn't get touched. And so you use developer to, like, dissolve away either the stuff that was already hit by light or wasn't, maybe?
I'm trying to think of a good way to describe this,
because
like it's one of those things that like it makes sense in my brain, but it's so technical, and I'm not a super technical person, so it's like
it does
super hard
something-
for me to describe
it
it.
does
Like, I
something
can do
between
it.
those two.
Yeah.
And then that's why you use the fixer, because you have to stop it at some point, right?
You use the stop bath to stop
you use
the
the stop.
developing.
That's what. You use it
'Cause it's called
because
stop.
it stops the reaction.
Yeah.
And then you use the fixer to like lock everything in place. So like you remove all the crap that isn't needed anymore on the film, and then you freeze it in time. And so that's why you can then take it out of the dark room, because you literally fixed it in place.
So why?
Why?
Why what?
Why?
It's a great question.
Why all this work?
I was thinking the
Why all
same
this work?
thing.
I'm a simple man. I don't drink coffee, but I know David's got a really weird long process, so I find you two very similar in the fact that I don't understand either that much. But
So
I know I
this is the
understand the
process of making the negatives,
I get it.
right? And so you use the negative to then, it's like like I said, it's a projector screen.
But part
right?
of my question,
Yeah.
what I'm asking is, I'm an average Joe.
Yeah.
and I'm learning about this, and I'm interested. Like, what is it that's special about this process to you? That is like, why do you choose to do this over digital photography to begin with, up to the point of potentially scanning it in?
It's cool.
So, like, why use?
It's really cool.
Whatever the proper name is for the
Super
paper
hipster.
in the film.
Well, it's interesting because I was born in 2000, so digital cameras were a thing when I was alive.
Yeah.
When I was a child. So, but funnily enough, the first camera I ever took a picture on was a Polaroid
Okay.
from the 1980s. But then when I was like 5, I got one of those like, tiny little digital cameras. It was like hot pink. So I
I
shot
had
on
one too.
Yeah. Was it hot pink though?
Oh yeah.
But so I shot doing digital, and what's interesting is because everything could and was automated, right? I was really struggling to learn how the aperture and the shutter speed and the ISO worked, because since it had all been done for me my entire life, like once I got my nice camera, I was like, okay, there's a manual button on here, I should learn how to use it. And I watched like YouTube video after YouTube video, and I still could not, like, it would not
click.
My brain could not handle it.
Yeah.
And then I went to college and I took a darkroom class where they hand you a 35 millimeter Pentax that only has manual on it, and you have to know how to do it or you're gonna not get any pictures. And for some reason, and then your film, it is a specific ISO. Like you can't change the ISO on that film.
Yeah,
So
that's right. I
it's-
forgot about that.
yeah,
That's where it
it's-
comes from, right?
It's baked in.
Because we're all in the digital age, and we have been grandfathered in all these terms that don't
Yeah.
make any sense to us now.
Oh yeah, it
But
all
they make
comes
total
from film.
sense from
Yeah.
the film.
Yeah, I
and
can't.
ISO was determined from the film you were using.
Yeah, so
With-
it's like
Yeah.
the film speed or its sensitivity to light. How sensitive is it to light? So like
ISO.
there are like 8 ISO films out there. It's like, okay, that's cute.
You'd have to
Now
be
I know
shooting
why-
in like the sun.
I was gonna say, now I know why
Yeah.
she likes to shoot outside. She's like, us do everything low ISO.
Yeah. But like so like 100, 200, 400, and like obviously they go up to like 3200, like
Yeah.
they go up there. But since it's
Sounds
film, it's
right.
also like super
just
grainy,
funny.
because it's like the size of the silver halide crystals, I believe. It's been a
The
hot minute
grain?
since that class. But so
That's what I thought.
I think the fact that your film is 100 ISO or it's 400 ISO, and that's just what it is, I think that helped my brain simplify it, because then it was just, okay, your aperture is the area of acceptably sharp focus. I'm going to send this to my photography professor so he knows that I still remember that. Because he used to drill that. He'd be like, what is aperture? It was very threatening. He was kind of scary, but also lots of fun.
And
Aperture.
And
Yeah.
aperture is measured in the
F-stop.
F-stops.
T-stops.
And then
I live and
so
die by it.
T-stop.
No, you don't. Shut up.
It's for cinema.
So I always tell people that the only reason I know how to work a camera or like what the things do is because I know what it will give me aesthetically. So I like lots
Nothing
of
wrong with
bokeh.
that.
I like lots of bokeh. So I know that if I'm shooting at f2, there's not gonna be a lot in focus.
0.8. Give it to me.
0.8.
Oh my gosh. Generally with black and white film, I shoot at 100 ISO, and color is normally 400 because color's finicky. But, and then, shutter speed is dependent on how much light you have. For me, that's generally how I do it. Like I know a lot of people set the shutter speed first and then the and then the aperture, whatever they need it to be. But I always like doing the aperture first because then it's aesthetically pleasing to
And
me.
shutter
'cause it's
speed
I
is
want
how
it.
long the film is exposed to light when you press the button. It goes
Yep.
or
So
real fast.
I think
Can I get some more examples? What else you got? Any other sound?
bulb is a fun setting.
Oh,
Bulb is fun.
Bulb is fun. especially for night photos, which are very fun to do.
Light painting.
Yes. But so I think just having that like more manual thing helped my brain very much understand it, and it still took me like a month or two to like transfer that over to my digital camera. Like I don't know why. I was just like, but how though?
Interesting, because I mean we have similar processes, right? I mean it's like normally the same way, right? Start with aperture, although I know you're technically starting with ISO, but you know, you're picking, it's going to be the lowest, right? You're going to get the lowest you can, so it's like, and then you start with aperture, go ISO, and then shutters normally last.
ISO is so weird with digital cameras, though. I just watched Gerald Undun's video on like native ISO.
Natives. What was your conclusion? What's the takeaway from Gerald?
It seems like kind of a waste of time to go below into the fake ISOs.
Yes,
because then you just. Sorry, this is a whole different tangent. It's basically like just shoot at native, and then if you need to adjust it afterwards, do that.
It's generally what we do.
Generally, yes. Exposed for subject is our basic rule, but
no one has been able to tell me a native on the Nikon. I'm just saying it doesn't exist.
800.
It's not.
It's 800.
It's not.
You can test it.
Nope.
You can test it for noise.
No.
This isn't impracticality. You just test it for
you
noise.
Can't just say it's 800. You
can't
just say it's 800 and it's 800. Show me the documentation that says
there's no documentation because Nikon's
it doesn't
stupid.
exist.
But it doesn't mean
it's not a real thing.
You can test the camera for f-stops and for its max theoretical dynamic range without getting a piece of paper from the company.
So
you can actually test these things practically.
All right, let's talk about this in terms of film.
I'm pretty sure Gerald Undun did it when he got his Nikon.
He might have.
He does like 45. Him and a DSLR filmmaker both do like 45-minute breakdowns whenever they get a new camera.
So ISO with film, what does that mean again?
So it's often referred to as like the film speed or how sensitive it is to light.
So when you have a high ISO film, that means it's really sensitive to light?
Yeah.
So you can have like a really low shutter speed.
Or a really high shutter speed.
Oh yeah, because I'm thinking of
it's
Yeah.
Letting in so much light.
More light.
Yeah.
Less light.
Well, I'm thinking of like the fraction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to do like action shots,
low, but it's high.
Yeah.
And you knew we were going to do them outside, like sports or something,
One of my professors was always like, so if you wanted to take a picture of Bigfoot and it was dark outside, would you pick the 100 ISO or the 3200 ISO?
Yeah.
What's the answer?
What is the answer?
What is the answer?
32.
Yeah.
Oh, you mentioned sports, and that clicked with me like a year or two ago when I learned about like the film and sports, because you want it to be really fast, but that means usually the grains are like really big, right? Because they have to react like really quick.
Yeah.
And so like when you see like older sports action photos, you can tell it's super grainy, and it's because of the different type of film they're trying to use. And like I always wondered why like sports photos looked not bad, but like it's like, why is it grainy? Like why does it look like that? And it's because of the type of film they had to use to get the shot in the first place.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Also, the native ISO for in-log is 800. Now, you don't shoot in-log, and I don't know what it is for photography.
Is that from? Was that official?
No, this isn't from. This is from Wolfgrow. They tested it. You can test these things. You don't have to rely on documentation, which is the difference between f-stops and t-stops, by the way. F-stops are the, on paper, it is like the theoretical like value of light that it's measuring. T-stops are the clocked. So like if you buy a $100,000 lens, like they actually test that lens, and the value for the stop is what it's actually measuring, not the theoretical. So like our Nikon cheap to production is like
$20,000 lens,
a $2,000 Nikon lens, whatever. It's like it's still measured in f-stops because it's like it's about 3.5. It's pretty close, but t-stops are like the actual calibrated. So like you can test these.
To tie that back in with the ISO conversation, digital cameras don't have film, but we still have this ISO term.
Yeah.
But like the little thing in the camera that it has like its eye, it's a little sensor.
Yeah.
We're exposing the sensor.
Is calibrated for certain amounts of light, and that's what the native values are. Is like what it is good at, what it expects. And so that's kind of like what ISO of a film is when you want to use the native values? There's usually like 2, maybe 3, or sometimes just 1, right?
I was gonna say
For the
dual
native ones?
native. Dual native is usually reserved for higher end.
Our Ronin.
So we
does
usually just
dual
have
native.
one ISO that the camera is like actually good at, right?
Prosumer, anything like under, I don't know, maybe $2,000-$3,000.
So ideally, you should always shoot at that and try to adjust everything else to accommodate.
Ideally, if you can light your subject with lights to compensate, yeah. But I mean, if it's really dark, there's so many good cameras that just have really good low light performance. And what that means is like between your f-stop being wide open, having, I don't know, just a low shutter, depending if you're doing photo or video, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely separated on the Nikons. Like there is by no means like the lower your ISO, the better your shot. Like it's not like I can't crank it to 800 and it looks better than 100.
You're also shooting raw photos, and I think photo video, I'm curious if it is different for a sensor depending on what you're using it for.
I could see that.
But mine specifically is for in-log, which isn't raw footage, but so like the point though is like Sony cameras have like an ISO, some of them can go up to like 125,000 with very little noise. And even if you have noise, just throw it through denoiser, which is just
AI.
I mean, I didn't want to say it, but it is. It is just your computer saying, "Hey, this is the footage. This is the noise pattern. Can I reverse the noise pattern?" That's what most plugins are. Is just like, this is a typical scenario. This is typically how it's fixed. So if I apply that effect to it, can I remove noise? Can I remove flickering lights? There's a lot of those things. So if you have a camera that just has stupid amount of ISO like that, then you can kind of get away with it and then just fix it later in post, but that's not,
I mean, it's like
advocated.
Isn't the Ronin's what, 800 and 5,000?
I've never
5,000.
actually cranked it up to max ISO. I don't know.
Not
native,
max, but native.
The native is 800 and 5,000. Yeah.
Wow.
Which is
5,000
insane.
seems high.
I've never shoot over 5,000, I don't think, because you
I
can
think we've had
see
to.
the footage fall apart so fast after it falls off from that second native.
You go from 5 to like 6 and you're like,
But if you're shooting at 800 and then you set up for a new scene and you shoot at like 3,200 and then you shoot at 5,000, the 800 and the 5,000 look so much more like clean
yeah, it's
than
insane.
the 3,200, which is in between them, because technically those are artificial
It's not
artificial
real.
ISOs. Like it's not real film.
So I'm interested in creative side of ISO now. So in film, do people ever intentionally shoot at the wrong ISO? And
Why?
what does that do?
So I'm trying to remember this correctly, because again, it's one of those technical things that I'm like, that's cool for you people. I'm just gonna go over here and do what the instructions say. But you can shoot at the wrong ISO and either under or overexpose your film, and then that like changes what time you develop it for and stuff. And there are other reasons to do that too. I've never done it personally. My brother was actually just intensely researching this. He was like, we should try this. I'm like, okay, buddy, you do that. You do that. I'm going to go over here and just try to, get this photo exposed properly.
Yeah. Was it something you ever had to do in school? Like learn how to properly do it wrong?
No, actually. But what's funny is we did have an instance where one of our students went out to shoot for a project, and she had her film camera. She was doing all the stuff, and we had gone over ISO and how it is the film. You can't change it because the camera's light meter. There's a little knob, and you put in what your film's ISO is, so it knows what the light meter for. And she went with one of her friends who shot digital photography, and she was having trouble properly exposing one of her photos, and her friend who shot digital photography was like, oh, just change your ISO. So she changed the little knob. Obviously that doesn't actually change anything. So then she some of her photos from that were obviously not usable, but but some of her other ones, it just kind of changed the printing time when she went to print them on paper, because some of them would be super dark or super light depending on how she changed her ISO. So it just changed the printing time and the filters that you would use to get an actual properly exposed photo.
Huh.
Dang.
So, but yeah, some people really like going out and like over or underexposing a couple stops their film, and then they can develop it for like a shorter amount of time or something. And there are other reasons to do it. I've just it's not something that I've like extensively researched. So
you're very, what's the word? Theoretical. You want to do it by the book.
A bit.
Or else.
I don't know. I just like that classic like portraiture thing is what a lot of my film photos tend to be. Although I have started shooting a lot more inanimate objects on film recently, which is funny because I was always like, oh, I don't have long hair anymore. I can't do that. I was like, I'm a portrait photographer. Like I only shoot people. But then I
photograph.
but then I did a couple projects and I started taking a lot of like pictures of just inanimate things, and I was like, am I growing? Am I evolving as a photographer?
What do you think your ratio is, like digital to film? Shooting time.
Well, I mean, if you count all of the years that I was shooting digitally from like 5 to like 18 before I ever discovered actual film. Currently it's actually probably about equal.
Okay.
I haven't shot film in a month or two.
So when you do paid projects, do people actually come to you and they're like, hey, I want film photography? Or is that something that like somebody knows you offer? Like,
so
what does that look like?
This is a really sad story, actually.
Oh, sorry, I asked.
Oh, great.
All right, Daniel, get ready to make a clip.
So someone came to me and was like, I saw that you shoot film and I'd love you to do my senior photos on film. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, it's happening.
Like, I love you.
And pretty much. And so I was super excited, did it. And then I have never had a roll of color film turn out the way it did before. Like, I was like,
good or bad?
Bad.
Oh,
I was like,
gotcha.
I'm going to cry. I'm like typing this email, like, I don't know what happened. I'm going to cry. Anyway, like, it was so weird. And the lighting that day was, it was weird. It was like a patchy lighting day to begin with.
Yeah.
And color is more finicky than black and white. The black and white roll I shot turned out okay. It's like more artsy than I would normally do. But like those photos turned out, but like the color ones were just, I've never had a roll of film turn out like that before. And like it's not, I didn't use like a professional film stock for color film. But it's what I used to shoot color for my senior project on. And those, like, I got those printed and hung them up in a gallery and they looked amazing.
Gotcha.
So I'm still like, what went horribly wrong here? Like, so.
Did you keep them?
Interesting.
I don't like that.
Can we show them?
I was gonna say that's the thing.
I will cry.
I think that's the thing that bothers me about it the most. And I understand this is a very like modernist type thing, but it's just like the fact that I can, and you can see your composition, like essentially what you're taking a picture of, but at the end of the day, like there's a lot of the process that's happening on the back end, and by that point, you're not with your subject, you're not in the location, like you're really hoping that you know what you're doing.
It's
and I mean,
talent.
it's also one of those things where like a film stock cannot be as good as it normally is. Like you can have a rough patch film, so I'm almost wondering if that happened, because
I've old.
I could literally show you like all of the rolls of film that I've shot and none of them will look like this one, and I don't know why. And of course it's like the first time I got paid to shoot film.
Did you try to develop again, or do you think that it was an actual issue with the film itself?
I'm gonna there's a cool company called Cinestill. That's how I want to pronounce it.
Okay.
I think they're from Germany. But I want to get some color film from them because it looks good. It looks cool. I'm intrigued by it.
Yeah.
So I emailed her and I was like, this turned out horribly. I've never had a roll of film turn out like this. I'm like super sorry. I'm crying over here. I didn't say that, but I wanted to.
Like, why?
And I was like, I would really love to like reshoot this, and like, you don't have to pay me anything because something obviously screwed up on my end. Like, it wasn't your fault at all. So I was like, would you like to do a reshoot of this? And she's like, that's really disappointing. She was like, maybe in the spring. I was like, okay. I don't know if that's good or not. But
That sucks.
so
We've all been there.
yeah.
Well, it's like, I was like, what's the equivalent as like
A
bad
corrupted-
SD card?
Yeah. Corrupted
Footage.
files.
Yeah.
It's like, I was like, that's terrible. Like, why would you ever do this? But even
Yeah.
then, like, if whatever happened to your film after a certain point, like of shooting, if something happened, unlike with an SD card, you still have everything prior that you had shot, as long as it's like not exposed to light or whatever. But
Yeah.
like on an SD card, whenever the thing goes bad, you lost
You're done.
everything.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's an 8-hour day. Doesn't matter if it was a 10-second shoot. Doesn't matter. It's
Yeah.
gone forever.
Yeah,
Yep.
if it falls out of your wallet in the middle of the field.
You shut your mouth.
That's that's why legitimate cameras, professional cameras, are dual card slot.
Yeah.
You're always redundant. And that was
Yeah.
the biggest. That was the first biggest
Yeah.
complaint against the Z6 and the Z7.
One for each wallet.
That's why this. That's why the second versions have two.
Yeah, that would be a smart
Redundancy,
idea.
right? I mean, no matter what.
Yeah,
But-
I mean, aside from focus, you can fix most stuff in post with in log footage.
Yeah.
Sort of. I once it's baked in with JPEG, even with a flat profile, that's pretty bad. But like, there's so much you can do in post. But like, that terrifies me of trying to work
AI.
with film and.
Yeah. And I mean,
Me too.
I guess you could
that's-
fix it with
that's-
AI.
You know, I'm
now.
always chimping, so I can't be. You know, I'm always chimping, man.
I mean, that's another thing. Like, if if you like over or underexpose
Do you know what that is?
something in film, no, I have no idea.
Okay, I was just curious. You shoot
You
film,
know
so you don't
what
know.
chipping is. You got quizzed.
I did?
I don't know if you. I don't know if you listened to the episode, but we did like a photo and video term quiz.
Oh, yeah.
And chimping is. I didn't know this was a thing, but it's a thing. It's like where you're constantly looking, and when you're shooting digital, like looking back at the photos, and you're showing, you're like, ooh, 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 and
Yeah.
you go again, you pop it down, ooh.
Well, it's funny because I definitely do that when I'm shooting digital, and
You
then
me
like
both.
once I've shot digital for like a hot minute and I haven't shot film, I'll like go and shoot film and I'll look down and I'm like, oh yeah, you are not there. I am so sorry. I look stupid now.
So you just have to cheat. And when you use the Z6, like you view your pictures in the viewfinder, they never know.
Yeah.
Has anybody made like a hybrid digital film camera?
Probably Hasselblad, if anyone.
Actually, what did I read? It's been like a month or two, but I think there is like a Hasselblad camera that you can shoot digitally. But
She says it cooler than you guys.
You can also.
Hasselblad.
She says it like the
Hasselblad.
Jammers.
I didn't even say it.
Hasselblad.
Hasselblad.
But I think there is one. It's one of their medium format ones. It looks really
Okay.
cool.
Everything looks cool from them.
It's true. That's
Did
why it
you
all cost
know-
$8,000.
Did you know that
That's
the
it?
Hasselblads were the cameras that
I
they
don't know.
sent with the American astronauts into space?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where did we see? I saw that
That
recently.
was,
there was a video or something we must have all seen.
There's
Linus Tech Tips, probably.
like those those pictures are so beautiful.
Oh, Fujifilm makes
I
one.
love
It was probably a Brandon. It was probably a camera review on LTT. Brandon
Something.
always reviews cameras.
Okay, he
and
probably
gives-
reviewed a Hasselblad.
He probably
And
did.
then-
Drop some mad knowledge.
Yeah.
There's like they're. I know they have like their lower prosumers for like 8K, but like their average line is like 50K or whatever.
Yeah, I keep
it's
forgetting.
silly.
But isn't Leica the same way?
I thought they were just.
Ooh.
Do they do
don't
bodies? They do bodies now, but I thought they just
Yeah.
mostly did glass. Do they have a lot of like? Is Leica like a big photography brand?
Is Leica a brand?
It's like a yeah,
They're a pretty big brand.
Yeah.
I thought they
think-
were mostly glass.
No, they make a
I
good
think-
decent amount of cameras.
Yeah, I think we had a
Yeah, they're mirrorless. Here's
Leica camera in the
10K.
darkroom. But yeah,
10K.
I
10,000.
last year, the last week of the year and the first week of the year, we went on this big long road trip, and I ran into a photographer shooting color film on a Hasselblad, and I was like, it was really
That's
funny
cool.
because I saw him and I was like, I happened to be holding my 35 millimeter camera at the time, and I went up to him and I was basically like, hi, I also have film camera. And then we took portraits of each other, and he posted me on his Instagram.
Nice.
So
Is there-
I still have not posted his photo yet. I feel really bad.
Is there a process for getting a digital scan of a photo?
There is.
Is there better and worse ways?
I'm sure.
get a better scanner.
I was gonna say, yeah, you just need a
Scanner.
higher DPI, correct?
Well,
Dippy.
it's more like
You're
how much
dippy.
time do you want to spend? The scanner in what we fondly refer to as the scanning dungeon.
Dungeon.
There's a dark room and a dungeon.
In
Wow.
in the classroom across from the dark room, we had our scanning dungeon.
Okay. Was it scary in there too?
Well, no, it was just long and tedious.
I gotcha.
Because
I was gonna say, why is that?
because the scanner was like so old. It's like about the size of this table.
There's
the
a table
scanner?
for the listeners.
1.5 cube.
For those who want to know the
It's-
exact one, it's an IKEA lac table.
Yeah, look it up for reference.
Big thick scanner. You know, like
Thick boy.
2000s, like
Ooh.
Two
somewhere,
C's.
somewhere between like the 2000s and the 2010s
weird
is when
beige
I'm
yellow plastic?
assuming. Yeah.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
That predates.
It's an Epson scanner. So
'Kay.
like it's a good brand of scanner. It's just old. So it would just take like 30 years. So normally what I would do is I would put on a roll of film to scan, and I'd like watch whatever movie I was supposed to do for class, because it was in the classroom, so there was a projector.
Gotcha.
So I'd project whatever film I was supposed to like write a paper on and watch it while I scanned film.
Oh, that's weird.
So-
You said you were watching a film while you're scanning.
Yeah.
That's
So-
weird.
But
Mixing
then
terms.
in
Too many.
My brain.
in the Mac lab, there was a newer Epson scanner, which was smaller, newer, nicer, faster, and did a lot more for you. Like the old scanner in the classroom, when you scan color film, the scanner like automatically does like the color correcting bit for you. Because like color film is like, when you look at it, it's kind of like a weird like rosy like sepia color.
Okay.
You know, if it's not really old film that you found in your house, so you decide to develop it, and it's like green because it's so old. Yeah, that was fun. But so on the scanner in the classroom, you'd have to go in and like tweak and like select every photo and tweak it until the color was right, and then the scanner in the Mac lab, you would just put it in and it would run it, and you'd hit scan. It's like, thank you.
Make it look good button.
Yeah, pretty
Oh, wow.
much.
Yeah,
So,
this scanner from Epson is like $1,200.
Dang.
yeah. So I can't remember what scanner. I told my brother, because he's more like,
Yeah, it's all
tech savvy.
DPI.
Yeah.
I was like, find us a nice Epson scanner, and he did. And it wasn't, I think there was a sale on it. It wasn't overly expensive, and it scans good. It scans fast. So
Yeah.
that's nice. But basically, you put your film in these little trays. You put the film in it. You put the tray on the scanner, and then you select and scan. And
Click
and
that button.
Yep. And like for 35 millimeter film, I'll normally scan it at like 1200 DPI. And then for like medium format, like more than that.
I was
and
gonna say
then
more than that, right?
More than that.
More.
And then for the big, medium, large format negatives, the big boys, like really, really, really big. So big that when you put it into Google Drive, it's like, we cannot preview this file. It is too big. You
Can't
have to
handle it.
download it.
Yeah.
And then you zoom in and you can see everything.
I like that.
No, that's super cool.
That you've convinced me. That is my appeal to photography. I love. There's
Well, you just buy a medium format digital.
there's
They shoot at like 50 to 100 megapixels.
I assume that's expensive.
I want a large format.
Oh, yeah.
There's a place
Yeah.
down in South Beach, Miami that I've gone to a couple times. It's really cool. It's a National Geographic like walk-in, not museum. It's a gallery, and it's just National Geographic is
That sounds
the company,
awesome.
and it's just a gallery of, usually it's one artist at a time's photos, I think, and they're all huge prints, and it's insane to see something that's like 80 inches, like an 80-inch TV, something 90-inch TV,
Yeah.
and you get up so close to it, because it's not like a museum. Like, there's no ropes, just be polite, respect the artist type stuff.
Yeah.
And it's also
Yeah.
a print. You can make
Yeah.
more if you really wanted to. And and you can get all the way up, and like there's no pixels, like there's
Yeah.
no lines. Like, it is based on the DPI of the printer, but like the photo that he took has more than whatever that printer was even capable of outputting, and it's just insane.
Yeah.
It's weird how we went through this regression of quality in like video and photo in like the past 20 years, and we're still trying to catch up to what film can truly do.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's so
like,
crazy.
like when you go to like bring down the exposure in a sky in a digital image, you can still only get so much. And I can't remember the word for it, but film still retains more of that information.
Oh, dynamic range?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, is there like a varying dynamic range, or is it based on the camera? Is it based on the film? Like, how does that work?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
But like, I have found that I can still just get like so much information out of a sky, even in like a 35
Gotcha.
millimeter film. But like, if like basically the bigger the film gets, the better all of the quality gets.
Right.
Because it's just capturing so much more. Because basically the size of the film is the size of your sensor.
Okay, I was gonna say, so it all depends on the size of the film. So if you have larger film, you're probably getting more dynamic range.
But well, not so much that. There's just more like detail to it. Because I feel like you would get the same amount of dynamic range.
I see, but just less detail in those items.
Less detail. Because like the like 4x5 negatives, I blew those up to almost life size of people that I took for my senior show, and they looked pretty stinking good.
Yeah.
So like, and it was, I think I shot that on 400 ISO. But like if
Try doing that with your iPhone.
But like but if you went to if you went to blow up a 35 millimeter print to that big, it would start looking pretty grainy pretty fast. Like, so what's even cooler is, and I can't remember why this is exactly, but glass plate negatives, you can blow those up like forever, and the quality like only gets better. I can't remember what it is about them.
That doesn't
Interesting.
make sense to
I
me.
know, right?
It's a vector picture.
Pretty much.
It
But,
just
like,
doesn't matter.
It just keeps going.
In Jeffersonville, there's the Howard Steamboat Museum, and they had a bunch of glass negatives that they got blown up like the huge, like the size of walls.
Wow.
And you can like stand next to them and you're like, that's Uncle so-and-so's face. Like, you know, if you knew that person.
Holy moly.
So it's, I can't remember why that is, but I mean, I'm sure eventually you blow it up forever. It'll get bad at some point, but
Right. Eventually
glass
skyscraper size, not
glass
good.
plate. There's something about the glass plate photos, because it's not film, so it's a slightly different process to film that I don't know how to do, or what the proper words are. But it's like the same in theory. But yeah, there's something about the glass plate negative, which I found in an antique store the other day, and I bought a bunch of them because I couldn't resist, because I'd never seen glass plate negatives in an antique store before. So
That's awesome.
Yeah. I like it when
Learned a
photos
lot
get
about
blown
film.
up to the size of walls. Like it's in anywhere, really, just really cool.
A lot of
Unless
people don't
they're
get to
really
experience it, and it's like, I always thought like, oh, it's a picture, but there's some pictures like the Mona Lisa, it's not that big. People think it's awesome, but I'm telling
it's
you,
really tiny.
there is something
I've been there.
amazing. You go in.
That's one of the things I would really like to do in the future, is to be able to have within our space, you know,
Massive.
stills that we really like, that we've shot that are big.
Yeah, there's like, you'll see like Picasso or Warhol or whatever. It's like these famous artists, and you see it in like a magazine. You're like, oh, that's a painting someone made. Cool, my niece could do that. Sure, probably could. But then you like see these paintings or these photos in real life, and just the size of them alone is like, yeah, I don't know if I could make that. Like, you gave me enough time, maybe, but like the fact that they're just busting these out like on a daily, weekly, monthly basis is just insane, you know. And you see them in person, it's just like kind of breathtaking in a way. Yeah, I saw the Grand Canyon. It wasn't that. I was like, eh.
Honestly, I was kind of disappointed in the Grand Canyon
Don't
too.
say
Not
that.
gonna
I
lie.
haven't been.
But then
big hole in the ground.
you go see a giant painting.
You
You're
guys
like,
suck.
that's really cool.
honestly,
I like that a lot. I can look at this for a long time.
That's what people do.
honestly, I think the main reason I was disappointed in the Grand Canyon was because I've seen so many photos of it, so many like amazing photos of it,
Yeah.
that it's like I've already kind of
Got beat
seen
up by
it.
the hype.
Actually, no,
You know?
I think you hit it right on the head. So we was shooting with the Ronin. A lot of times I'll be looking at the monitor and it looks better and brighter and just all around
It does.
great.
Yeah.
And then you look up from the monitor,
Yeah.
you're like, this looks awful. So I think I blame you and your
Yeah.
HDRs, and now cinema cameras
true.
have finally caught up. But like you see all these amazing images, and then if you go out and look at the Grand Canyon without sunglasses on to help polarize and like help bring in the dynamic of range, everything, so your eyes
Right.
aren't clipping on the mountaintops and the plateaus and all this. It's like, yeah, it looks really gray and brown, and there's some blue, and it's like it's kind of but like you look through it with sunglasses, it does get better.
Yeah.
So my assumption is if you just had HDR eyeballs, it would look way better, because that's what you're used to
That's why
expecting.
everybody. I
Yeah.
get it.
Everyone
Totally
sees
get it.
Horseshoe Bend and they're like, wow, that's so cool. Or the red rock. Well, actually, the red rock is really cool because your eyes aren't getting clipped in there. There's like these these canyons. I don't know if David's been there, but there's these canyons where the wall is just the most red clay substance I've ever seen. And you could go in them and it's like all these like little corridors that are like 1 to
Yeah.
3 feet wide, and they just go up
Yeah.
for like 40 feet. That's breathtaking because the scale is in your face. But when you see the Grand Canyon from really far away and it's like gray muted clipping your eyeballs and it's so far away, you're like, this isn't that
Yeah.
cool. Maybe if
Yeah.
you're down in it.
It makes
Yeah,
me
I was gonna
rock.
say, I feel like
Go
if you
ahead.
hiked it, it would probably be cooler.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah,
like
that's my
like
thought as well.
The expanse of it was neat, but I've also seen so many just amazing photos of it, and it's funny because the first time we went, it was foggy and you couldn't see anything. It was really hilarious because we had driven all this way,
That sucks.
Couldn't see
and
anything.
then it was like you if you held your hand out, like you
Sad.
couldn't. It was really funny.
What's the matter? You
That was like me in
can't
Colorado.
you can't
So glad
defog.
I'm here.
You can't defog dehaze with
So-
film. Come on now.
But it was so funny because then we finished the rest of we went to our final destination, and then we made it so that we could drive back and try again, and then we saw the Grand Canyon, and it was cool. And some teenagers, I had my film camera, and they were like, if we lay on this railroad track, will you take a picture of us? And I was like, yes, I will. And then they started screaming and pretending they were being run over by a train, and I took photos. So
Nice.
that was my Grand Canyon experience.
Yeah.
So
The wedding we shot with the fog.
I know. That's why I said. I was like,
Oh.
it's just like Colorado. I didn't get to experience it. So.
Well,
Yeah.
you editing that photo though.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
So we go up and we're shooting. He's got the drone. He's got his camera and he's taking stills, and like I was like, it looks all right. Like it's pretty cool. It's all right. And then he gets back in the office and edits it all. And it's like, yeah, I just threw it through Lightroom and I used dehaze, and it's like it looks all right. And I look at it, it's just like so much more detail than you could have seen in real life. It looks so good. Like it's
Yeah.
honestly, like they probably are good enough to be in a gallery or something like that.
I don't know about that, but
And then
Yeah.
he's,
thank you.
I'm editing the footage, and he's like, "Why don't you just like dehaze, defog?" And I look over, like, "Screw you!
Why don't you just
I
turn
can't-
on the remove the things that make it suck?
I can't do that in
Yeah.
video."
I asked
I
the
can't.
question.
Yeah.
I was like, "Hey, can you dehaze
Yeah.
just like I did?" And he's like,
Hey, can you do a sky
No.
replacement?
"He
I mean,
do
I
that."
can tweak.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was
Like-
not bad,
Yeah,
but I do it all the time.
What you were saying about like photos of the Grand Canyon or like being there in person, it makes me think of space photography from like the telescopes.
yes.
Because the pictures that we see online are cool and colorful and stuff. That is not what they look like.
I was thinking about that earlier when she was talking about film
Yeah.
that exposes to all light values. Is it this whole spectrum? Is what you said?
film is panchromatic. So
And- yeah.
all wavelengths,
Yeah.
wavelengths of light. I had to say that in a video, and I shot that like 26,000 times, and I still don't.
You nailed it on the second.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
space
And
photos with it.
Yeah. So when they're doing research, they want to look at the different wavelengths of light that we can't see because they can tell like, oh, this is made of like hydrogen gas and all this stuff that like they want to know. But
Yeah,
it
a lot
looks
of that
really
stuff's infrared,
cool
too.
if you like move it down into what we can see, because one, you can then look at it and know what's actually there. But two, it looks awesome.
Yeah.
But if you were to actually
yeah.
look at what it would look like to our naked eye through that telescope, it would just look like darkness or just like the normal stars.
Yeah.
Well,
And that
and-
gets into like animals. Is like everybody craps on animals because they're like, humans are so smart. And like dolphins are cool because they can like get high on blowfish and stuff. And it's like, for the most part, like humans are the top, the apex predator, and all every other animal is just a bunch of ding dongs. There are
Yeah.
so many animals that their light, the value and the range of light that their eyes can interpret exceeds humans. So it's
Yes.
like you just belittle animals because you're just like, yeah, I'm smart, I drive a car, and I got a cool job. And then what are you? You're
Yeah.
just a goldfish. You're just a gold.
Yeah.
Can't remember anything.
Yeah.
Can't remember
we just
anything,
naturally
but-
can do all this stuff. We had to make a giant rock do for us.
So we have 2 terriers, and one can see laser lights, and one can't, like from like that you shine for a cat.
Yeah.
So it's like also like between different
You're
species.
so stupid, you dog.
Well, one will start barking at the light, the other one looks around, is like really confused, like
gosh.
so they're judging each
What
other
are you
based
barking
on
at?
what they can see too.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think Cole's one.
I'm wrapping this up.
Yeah.
We've gone for a while. We've got lots of stuff to accomplish tonight.
Yeah, 2
So-
more videos to shoot.
As you've seen, we're all dressed in our Christmas best.
Yeah. All you listeners, you've seen us.
That's what we're, yeah. Well, for those of you who can't see it, that's what I was trying to say.
We had this conversation.
What about the people watching but can't hear? So what can you
Use
that out.
auto captions.
Yeah.
They exist, they work.
We have a pretty diverse set of ugly sweaters.
Yes, I wreck stuff.
Yep.
A police
You got
not very done.
dinosaur.
So we're gonna shoot some Christmas videos. Look out for those. You're getting the BTS the heads up ahead
All
of
right.
time that we're doing this. So
If you
look out
listen
for
to
those
the
videos.
end, use discount code 2 years from now in our store.
Yes,
Tristan likes lambs, and you'll get 10% off an item that we'll choose.
Yeah.
maybe.
2 years from now.
I've not approved this message.
You don't plug tips on guest episodes, correct?
Nah, we've gone long enough. It's all good.
The tip is
Watch Tuesday
to
tip.
know how to.
Watch
tips?
Tuesday tip. We talk about Lightroom Mobile, which is a coincidence.
Yeah.
That is on purpose
Oh,
slightly.
it's on purpose.
Go watch. If you don't watch the podcast, go watch the clips. I made a fun one just for last
Promo
episode.
code watch the Lightroom video.
There you go.
I'm real proud.
Kat, thank you for coming on the
Yes,
show.
yes,
I know this
thank
has
you.
been long overdue. We're excited that she has joined the team. She's doing a great job with social media and her shooting. She's helping us out a ton. So reach
So-
out to her. Say hi.
So excited.
Yeah.
yeah.
Please
So
say hi to me.
Yeah.
she's
I'm
helping us.
lonely.
She's helping us out a ton, and
Yeah.
she's the first woman to join our team. So it's we're
Yay,
making
me.
strides over here.
Where can they find
Sound more
dear
excited.
things?
Where can
Yeah.
I find my things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
We've got
have-
examples online.
I have a website. It's KatherineBaylorStudios.com. It's really cool. You should go there. There's lots of film
Nice.
projects. If you don't feel like typing all of that in, you can go to Instagram, where
Whoa.
there are some like cool film things and other cool things that I've like actually shot for people that I got paid for. So that's also cool. But that's Catherine.Baylor.photos.
Nice.
That's the downside of being born after 2000. All the handles are taken.
Yes, I'm figuring this out.
Yeah.
My children are going through this. Sorry, it just sounds
Google
like
accounts yet? Like right now?
no, not
I
yet.
made my brother
Terrible
the
dad.
day he was born. I was
easy.
at the hospital making
got it.
Dexter at like whatever gmail.com and stuff.
Yeah.
But anyways,
So-
and if you'd like to shoot with Kat, because none of us here we don't really shoot with people or do portraits, so Kat is helping us to be able to do those things. So if you come in for a headshot, there's a 99% chance that you're going to shoot with Kat. So
Whoa.
and she does some of that also on her own time, but just saying it's better if you reach out to TRIFLIX, and
Yeah.
then we'll get you hooked up.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want the film stuff, yeah, go to her directly.
That's
probably.
true. But all the above. She is a
Yeah.
fantastic portrait photographer.
Thank you.
And has helped us out a ton in that area. So I got the houses, she's got the peoples.
Tristan's got the doctors.
So
Yeah.
go follow her stuff. Go
Please.
check out the TRIFLIX stuff. It's all her no matter what. It's
Say
all
hi.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. We're getting closer and closer to the holiday season. So hopefully you're being safe out there. People are nuts. Get your shopping done.
Yep.
We've got one more episode before the holidays, and then we are done for the year. And we've got more sweaters and all the good stuff.
Is
So
that the end of the season? 4?
that is not the end of the season, no. But
Okay.
we're going to take a break in between so that everybody can spend some
All
time
right.
with their families, and so that Tristan and I can work more.
Yeah.
and get caught up.
Make some money.
We might get a mission statement out of the company at that point. So we'll see.
Yeah.
You have to have me back so that we can talk about AI and
Yes.
How it's
What are
going
they
to take our
called?
jobs.
This is essentially
Normal
your
introduction.
This is Kat's introduction episode, but
Yeah.
for people who work here at TRIFLIX, they can come on at any point in time and just chat with us. So next time, let's.
But like, if,
It was on my list, so I apologize.
Yeah, no. If you want a teaser, the uproar about AI taking away like actual artists' jobs, what used to be the uproar that photography was taking away actual artists' jobs. So that's your teaser for next time. And
I love it.
I'll go back and read the book that I read in school that one time that talks about it a lot, and then we can talk about it.
Yeah.
We're doing it.
Sweet.
Tristan, what do you got?
Have a great day, and don't forget to apply for your TRIFLIX credit card.